Greetings, I'm Barrett and welcome to Meet Me at the Table. Today we're going to be doing a playthrough of Stalker, the board game. I'm going to be doing the first mission in the campaign, so that way you'll see exactly how this game is going to be played and what you can expect if you're interested in picking this game up. I believe at the time of this recording they are still doing late pledges. I could be wrong about that. I will throw a link to the Gamefound page in this description of the video, so check it out if you like what you see. From what I understand, this game has gone through a few development changes, moving from the actual prototypes that were out there to the game that you now see in front of you. So if you're watching this and wondering why some of the rules were different, that may be why. Of course, this is a stealth-based game, so I'll do my best at trying to get through it, although stealth-based games aren't exactly my forte. But I'm still excited to try this. It looks so cool on the board, and the gameplay I think is amazing from what I've read. Let's dig into this game. Let's play through our first scenario and see how it goes. If you're excited to see Stalker, the board game, and see if we can actually make it through the first mission, then I need you to meet me at the table. Before we start the game, I do want to go through a setup, and this is going to be just as if you're setting up your campaign for the first time. You're going to grab your campaign binder. You're also going to grab the other parts of it as well, which is going to be this sheet. I've already slotted a few things in there, and I'll talk about those in a second. And you're also going to grab this. This is going to have anything from the stash that you may have already previously collected or have gained along the way. So once you get those three objects, you're going to open your campaign binder and start from the beginning with your zone navigation. And after you take that out, you are going to slot these three cards into the slots for these. These are some of the people or places you can go to. We have a trader, a loner, and a companion. You can, or Patreon, a guide, and Sidovrich. I apologize to say that incorrectly. This is going to be a person we can buy stuff from. This is somebody that we could go talk to. And this is going to be something we could potentially bring along with us, a companion if we wanted to. This guy is going to allow us to buy equipment and sell equipment along the way. This guide says here, always useful when you have to get out somewhere quick. Pick one stash's blue location on the zone map and read its script, or pick a new contact green location on the zone map and read its script. Then you may pay 1,000 once to choose again. So you do get to go to one of those for free, but then you have to pay for another one. And this is a companion. One stalker gains this card, and then is able to bring this companion along. I believe it's a dog we could bring with us. So those three already slotted in and ready to go. And the first part of our zone navigation is we're each going to take, without a PDA, is going to take one and get themselves all ready. So let's quickly go look at some of our guys. Actually, before we do that, let's just quickly go through this. It says here, if no one has the lead stalker token, which is this token right here, you can flip this token to pass it to the next stalker to heal 2 hit points and gain a focus. This symbol right here does mean it's a free action. I'll go through a lot of that as we go forward, but you'll just flip it over to show that you've used it, and then you pass it to another stalker to your left. What this token does, now remember, this is a completely cooperative game, so what this does, it gives you a chance to heal, but if you are the lead stalker, you do kind of get the say in anything where it kind of comes to a vote or people aren't exactly sure how to do something. It would come to the lead stalker to choose how that takes place. We would take out the stash. There isn't anything in it right now, so there's no point in that. Then each player without a stalker card takes one of the stock from the stash and places it in the corresponding thing. So if we hadn't already set up all our guys, we could have all of these characters, for example, be in that stash, and we'll be able to take one of those from there. So technically these should be in the stash, but I've already set a lot of the characters up already, so I'm not really having too many in the stash. I've actually already chosen my characters from this, and this is then one of the cool things is people could kind of just jump into this game. So say you've played through a mission and you're going to go to the next mission, your friend comes over. They just go ahead, grab somebody from the stash, and they are able to take this character out and get them ready for the game. Equipment in the stash is always available to you during the zone exploration phase. You may freely move any equipment cards from or magazines between each player's PDA and the stash. At this point, we're going to take out the zone map, pick one available mission, location on the zone map, go to the correct page of the mission guide, and read the mission prologue. prologue. Now, this does not start the mission immediately. You will be able to explore the zone map in the next step and equip yourselves before you go out on this mission. We're going to do that in just a second. I thought finishing up of this in one step, then we could just quickly look at this zone map. It's pretty cool. Pick one available mission on the zone map, read the script book, and go back to the mission guide, and then you go to the next page, which is going to be your contacts. Now, in this game, we're going to be marking locations, kind of similar to, you're going to be putting stickers on a map and marking off locations as you complete them, or if it tells you to remove certain, unable to go to certain places because you've been there already, it'll tell you to remove or check off those locations. And I'll show you how that works in just a second. Here is our zone map, and at this point, we're also going to be putting stickers on it as we go forward. Here is these stickers, and the cool thing is it kind of gives you an idea of what this area is, so then you can just locate this area. It'd probably be right over here because it has kind of the trees and everything, and we would stick that sticker there if it tells us to do that. Now, it did say we have to pick a mission in red. There is only one. The Rescue Dalek mission is on page 3, so we're going to read that prologue really quick, but then we're going to still be able to go to see some of the contacts and stashes and things of that nature. So quickly, let's take a look at that prologue. Your story begins with meeting Professor Yezhov, an ambitious scientist hungry for science, and hearing his story. One heck of a story, to be honest. The central point of the story is a precious artifact dubbed the Snowflake, hidden inside a bandit-controlled warehouse, and its hero is Dalek, a seemingly honest band member bribed by the professor to bring the artifact to him. And there's an unpredictable factor which has complicated things. The warehouse got suddenly raided by a pseudo-giant who slaughtered the bandits. Dalek luckily survived the attack and got out of the warehouse. But he soon ran out of luck and was captured by a rival gang called the Turbos. So there are also the Turbos who, surprise, also wanted the Snowflake. The professor is ready to pay a lot to get the artifact before that. However, you must free Dalek. Ready for the clash with the bandits? Now at this point, it states on the zone exploration guide that since we've read this prologue, we now get to pick one of these and check out what they have to do. We have to read the scripts that have to go along with these. Do I want to go to the gun dealer, the experienced stalker, the armorer's workshop, or the blind Petros? Let's check out I want to go talk to the experienced stalker. I think that'd be pretty good. Now, all of these scripts are found on the back of the campaign book. So the campaign book has the missions in the front part, but the back part is going to have all of the scripts. So it says here, the man introduces himself as Wolf and welcomes you with a wide grin. He adds that the zone is a perilous place, and he has taken upon himself the mission of supporting eager yet still inexperienced stalkers. He radiates an aura of authority, which makes you want to sit down and enjoy his company. So at this point, we're going to take contact C06 Wolf and place it in your stash. Mark the location as unavailable and go back to the campaign binder. So at this point then, we would cross this out because we've already gone here. We can't go there again unless something in the campaign uncrosses it out. I don't see how that's going to happen. So we would be crossing this out, and we're going to put C06 into our campaign binder. Or I should say stash. It's not in our campaign binder, it goes to our stash. Here is our card we're going to add to our stash. It says a self-proclaimed guide for the rookies, always ready to help with one of your missions. Choose one stalker to gain this card. It may be used during the next mission. Flip this card. When you finish the mission, return it to the stash. So we'll put that into our stash. So there it sits right there in our stash thing. With that complete, we're going to move to the next part of this beginning part of the campaign, and we're going to go to our contacts. People you know might just be the people who will help you in tight spots. You can spend your time here between missions and prepare for tasks ahead. You already know the broad objective of the mission, so try to prepare accordingly. So we do know we have to try to find this guy. So it says here, perform the following steps in order. We're going to slot all contact cards you may have in your stash into the contacts holder with the A side up. So that means Wolf will move from that stash to our contacts that we can talk to inside of our into our little holder here. So here we are. We have him right here into our little holder here. At this point, we may visit up to 3 contacts with different names. Choose their cards one by one and immediately resolve the effects. Remember, you can look through all equipment decks, so plan ahead. There's going to be different people. We can go to traders where we can buy and sell equipment, loaners that offers various services with immediate effects. We have contracts, which only have one per navigation zone. This is an additional mission that would take place during your main mission. You can gain additional rewards for completing it, and you may look at the other side of the companion context for rules references before you decide which one to choose. If you choose a contract, take that card out of the binder and set it aside. Now, of course, we also could take a companion, kind of like that wolf character, and it says companions help you during missions. You may look at the other side of the companion card context for rules references before deciding to choose one. If you choose a companion, take their card out of the binder and set it aside. At this point then, we would store our zone map and go to the next page, which is where we're going to be going on a mission. Buying and selling equipment is the next part of this, and when you resolve a trader contract, you may buy and sell any allowed equipment. You may buy and sell in any order, alternate between them. You may buy, discard coupons to pay for the chosen goods. When you sell, you gain coupons, equipment equal to the money value visible on the equipment cards, but traders usually modify this value. At this point, we're going to move into setting up our characters for the campaign. When you set them up, you're going to choose a stalker from the supply, or the stash, I should say. You get to start with 4 different ones in your stash. At this point, we are going to grab all the things for our characters to get them ready and to go. On top of that, we get 5,000 amounts of money that we can use to buy equipment. Now, of course, that means you do have to go to one of the contacts that sells the equipment. So that is going to be one of our contacts we move to. It will be the contact that is in charge of selling all the equipment to us, which is going to be Sidrovich. He's the trader for this particular beginning of the campaign. He is a, quote, fat bastard, but with a reliable source of supplies, warning, not cheap. So at this point here, if we decide to go to this contact, we can sell equipment cards of any tier, and there are 3 different tiers of equipment for a quarter of what they're worth, but I always round down to the next 50. I can also buy any amount of tier 1 weapons and armor for their listed value. I can also buy magazines for ammos for 500, and then you can buy any of the items we want for twice the value. If you buy an echo detector attachment, I can do that for its value as well. So that is one of the people we're going to go to for our contacts, which is why you see some equipment already on the board. The 2 different characters we're going to be playing with, one is going to be Borsuk. He is going to be one of our different stalkers. Every stalker is unique in the amount of hit points they have, the shooting numbers they have, and their special abilities. Each one of them kind of has a kind of innate way they play character-wise. For example, this character is a zone type explorer. We have Manau, who is a lone fighter. We have Milady, which is a sneaky sniper, and Valet, which is a versatile tank. Now, we're not going to be playing with Manon or Valet. Those are the 2 we're not playing with. We're playing with Borsuk, and we're going to be playing with Milady. Those are the 2 characters that were voted on by my Patreons. They were the ones that I put a poll out to decide who to play with, and these are the 2 that won the most votes. If you're interested in determining what characters we play with and how we evolve our characters going forward, we do let our Patreon supporters vote for those particular things. So if you're interested in doing that, join the Patreon. The link is in the description of the video. So here is our first character. We have a couple special abilities that are going to make more sense when you start playing, but it says anomaly knowledge. After you perform the bolts nuts action, I may place an additional bolt from the pool. On top of that, as an action, I can use zone affinity. I can move up to 2 spaces and don't move or place my attention marker, and during the movement, I can treat all radiations as 1 lower per turn, and you'll see how all that works during the playthrough. But he does start with 15 hit points, so I've put this here. He also has a gun we bought. We bought a AKM-74U. It has an accurate range of 2. What that means is when I roll my dice, when I'm rolling, I get a symbol on the dice that is this one, the white with the 2 stars in it. It's going to turn into 4 stars instead of 2, but that's only going to happen if it's in the accurate range of the weapon. The max range for the weapon is 3, and I have 6 ammo. For an action, I can choose to do a single shot, which is going to allow me to do this, or I can use an action to do use 2 ammo and do a burst shot, which is going going to do this. On top of that, whenever we roll any of these symbols, I'm able to deal this particular stats effect, which is pinned, and we'll see how all that plays out in the video. This does cost 1,000, so it is pretty expensive gun here. I'm able to put 2 different attachments on it, but I don't have any at this time. We do have a leather jacket. We've bought that for 100. Maybe I should spend more on defense than offense. It does allow me to roll 1 defense dice when attacked and doesn't help with radiation at all. But on top of that, I did get the echo detector that's going to allow us to help get some of these artifacts from the anomalies, and hopefully you'll see how that works during the playthrough. We bought a sausage for him as well. This is also a free action to be able to gain one of these focus tokens, and I can reduce the radiation dosage by 2 and then discard this card. I'm expecting him to kind of move around the board and probably get hit with some of the radiation issues, so that's why I got him this. To track radiation, you're going to track it on one of your Geiger counters here, and as you see, this is going to be moving up, and as it moves up, you're going to be taking radiation damage equal to the dice you see here. But whenever you do take the damage, you do fall back down to the lower one, I think, if I remember right. So we'll see how all that plays out during the game here. And I've made him our lead stalker, so he does have that token. On top of that, we did buy a set of ammo here, so we can reload our gun once. That is one of the actions we can do. This is going to be your attention marker. It's either yellow or red, depending on what actions you perform. If you do shoot, you notice it's red, so that means where you shot from, you would place your red token. You'll see again how that works during the playthrough. As you play through the game, you're going to be using actions. These actions are going to be slid down with these particular things here, and when you get to the bottom, you're going to be done with your turn. The next person will go, then it'll go to your next turn. You'll finish that one. Next person will go. Once they're both done, you'll be at the end of the round, and you'll do all the end of round effects, and then you'll clean up phase and things of that nature. And I'll go through all that when we start playing. But this is our first character. I think I'm ready to show you our second character and see what we bought. This is Milady. Milady is the sniper type character in this game, so we'll see how this works. Hopefully sniping is pretty good. The first thing we notice is she only has 14 health. Now she has 2 different shooting dice. Now whenever you make an attack, you're going to automatically get the yellow dice that have to do with shooting plus whatever your gun has. So for example, she's got a bolt action rifle. I gave her a sniper, why not? It has an accurate range of 3 to 6. It has a max range of 6, and it has an ammo of 3. I can do 2 different singles shot. Either one's a single shot, or an aimed shot. I can do an aimed shot as well. And these are going to be able to help us roll different dice. And if we ever roll any of these gas mask symbols on this particular yellow die, we're going to be able to turn those into successes. Your goal in this game when it comes to rolling dice is to gain successes, and those are going to be the stars that you're going to find on these particular dice. So you want to see as many stars as you can. You don't want to not see stars. That's bad. I also gave her a leather jacket, the same one as he has. She has an energy drink. I gave this to her for free. I get to gain one of these focus tokens, and then I can perform my next action as a free action and discard this card. The focus token itself is this token here. You can only ever have one at a time on your board. It's just going to be placed right here. What that is going to be able to do is allow you to reroll a die, and you can do different types of dice you can reroll. You could use your hit dice. You could use defense dice, but you can spend it to reroll all of those particular dice. So if I were to say take a single shot with this, and I'm at range 4, let's say, I'd get to roll all of my dice. I get to roll these dice right here. Let's say we roll these dice, and we got some bad symbols. Oh no, I don't like this dice. So we can spend the token to re-roll these dice. It didn't actually benefit us anymore. Hopefully we don't roll like that during the game. It could be a real short game. So that is our character here. This is Milady. Milady is all set to go. She does have a few special abilities. Of course, most of them are going to have to do with being snipey. This one says, whenever you attack an enemy outside of its line of sight, I gain 1 extra success to the roll. Also, for an action, I can sneak. I can move up to 3 spaces during this movement. The maximum value of enemies' line of sight is 1, except on the final space of your move, once per turn. So you'll see how that works as we go through the setup. I'll quickly show you how our enemies check line of sight. If this particular character was looking straight at me, it would have a 3 range line of sight. To the right and left, it has a 1, and behind us, it has a 0. So if she were to use that particular ability, she could move up to the 2 area and then kind of move past him, and he would never notice that she was there, even though it would normally be in his line of sight. And we'll see how it all plays out. Now, of course, I only get 3 bullets with this one, which is kind of short, so I have to maybe keep her from shooting too many people. Maybe she's the one that takes shots. Hopefully she can take people out in 1 shot. That's kind of what I'm hoping for, the sniper. She does have a ammo in her reserve here if she needs it, and her Geiger counter, of course, starts at 0. Now that we have our characters all ready to go, I just realized I actually have more money than I thought I did. Apparently I can't do math. I thought I had gotten to 5,000, but that is fake news. I am going to actually buy some more equipment. For 200 more, I can get this bandage pack for her, so she'll be able to have a bandage pack and this energy drink. For our other character, I am going to buy also a bandage pack for him for 200, so he's going to have that. And on top of that, I'm trading out his leather jacket for this better suit. Remember I said, maybe I should probably have better defense. It doesn't give me better defense, but it helps with that radiation again. So giving him this pretty much going to let him run all throughout the radiation zones of the map, potentially. So this will help him out by being able to take one less radiation damage running around. Now, of course, that did cost 800, and these all, like I said, are tier 1 items. You can only buy up to tier 1 items. There are only 2 different armor pieces that are tier 1. That's leather jacket and this NBC suit. There are a lot of different weapons that are tier 1, but these are the ones I have chosen. We'll put these with that character, and at this point, now our characters are all set up and ready to go. Sorry about my math being absolutely terrible. So now we spent, I think, 4,900 if I add it all up correctly. The next thing we'll do is take miniatures from the board game and put our colored rings on them. The miniatures you use they're not specific for a character, though they can kind of get close to what you want them to look like. But this is going to be the character for Milady. She's going to be this purple one. And then I am going to put the blue one out there for our other character. He's going to be using this particular miniature. These are the Sundrop Pledge miniatures. And I'll tell you right now, if you're interested in painting these miniatures, you totally can paint right over this white part of this miniature with any of those speed type paints without any problem. You can also use any other paints as well, but I usually use speed paints when it comes to painting up my miniatures. So I have painted speed paints over this particular type of Sundrop, and it works just fine. So if you do want to give it a shot and try to paint up some of these miniatures so they look pretty cool, you totally can. At this point, I did not have time to get these all painted up, so we're just going to play with them as is. At this point, we can go to 2 other contacts that we want to. I have chosen these 2. The first one is that wolf character we learned about. I'm going to go check him out. I can give this to a character. It may use during the mission. I can flip this card. So at this point, this character is going to, you may return this card to the stash and deal pinned to all enemies on the map. Oh my gosh, all enemies. That's amazing. Pinned is a really good, basically it prevents them from doing an action, which is going to be absolutely great. So then we'll return this to the stash. I'm going to give this to Borsuk. He's the one who's going to take command of that particular card. The other person we are going to go see is this guide. He's a loner, always useful when you have to get somewhere quick. Pick one stash's blue location on the zone map and read its script. And then pick one new contract, green location on the zone map and read its script. Then you may pay 1,000 to do it again. We're not going to pay the 1,000, but we're going to go to a blue location and a green location. We've already gone down here. He's done. So at this point, we're going to go to the Blind Petros. And why don't we check out the Armorer's Workshop? Maybe I can get some better armor there, because I think I have some pretty good guns already. The Hidden Stash. You cautiously make your way toward the stash when you glimpse a group of stalkers combing the area. You overcome the sudden urge to retreat and you stay down to get the lay of the land. There are valuable things in that stash. Soon you realize that stalkers you have spotted have a wounded companion whom they are trying to help. It is tempting to wait it all out and get to the stash, but perhaps a human touch wouldn't hurt. Maybe I should simply help them. I can choose either approach to help them, see script 111, or keep your distance and sneak up to the stash, and I can go to script 112. I'm going to go approach and see if I can help them. Approaching the stalkers, one member of the group is bleeding profusely, and the rest of the group are frantically trying to dam it. Seeing you approach, they wave and call for your help. You choose help them, discard one medicine to help them. Well, as a nurse, I don't have any option. I think I just always deemed the ability that I have to try to help them. So I am going to discard my bandage pack from Milady in order to help these people out. You manage to staunch the bleeding, and with a bit of luck, the wounded stalker should be fine. His companions gratefully pay you with an artifact. Artifacts are super good. It says take the Eye artifact card and place it in your stash. Mark this location as unavailable. Go back to the campaign binder. Now, of course, I could have ignored their plea and just get to the stash and read 112. Now, that does mean that in the future, if I play this campaign again, maybe I might want to go the other direction so I can see what that has. There are I think 4 different maps in the game. They're the same map, but there's 4 different maps that you can restart the adventure with. So this is a multi-use campaign, so you can go back and play these missions over and over again, and it'll be super, super cool. All right, so here is our eye. We can discard a focus token to move my attention token to a space within 2 range of your stalker. That is super, super good. Its value is 3,000, so way better than my medical kit that I used, but it does have 5 radiation, so you can usually try to put these type of things into some of your artifact containers. Now the artifact container for our characters is basic right now, so it's not going to help us, but as we go forward we might be able to find better containers to be able to ignore some of this radiation damage. Now that's 5 radiation. That is a lot of radiation to have to deal with, but so we'll put this in our stash. We might bring it with us, we might not, we'll have to see. Now at this point we are going to now go on a mission. Here you set up the necessary components, perform the following steps in order. So the first thing is, if you're playing solo, take the solo stalker overlay and place it in the turn slot. If you noticed on our character board we had those turn slots. The solo one allows you to take 3 actions a turn as opposed to 2 by every other dashboard that you have, every other PDA. So there is a way to play true solo if you're wishing to do that in this game. Of course for us we are playing 2 players just so I can show you more of the players and kind of how they interact and how they're going to be able to maybe help each other around the board. Well, in theory, maybe they'll help each other. We'll see how it goes. All right, so each player that doesn't have a PDA takes 2 turn tokens, the attention token matching the color, and place them in the corresponding slot. I've already done that for our characters. At this point, we each place a stalker model and place it in the colored ring matching the PDA colors. We've already done that as well. Then each chooses armors, artifacts, and attachment items, magazines, and weapons from the equipment they have in the stash. Now, of course, I've already taken all the equipment out and put them onto our characters, so we don't actually have to worry about moving them from the stash to our characters. I've just kind of sped things up a little bit. Each player places ammo markers in their weapons on their ammo value, and then we're also going to gain 2 bolts and 1 of our focus tokens in the pockets of our PDA. So it is awesome that we start with some of those. So here are the bolts that I'm going to start with. I'm going to start with 4 of them. It doesn't matter what these are. They all do the same thing. So I'm going to give 2 to each character, and we also start with our focus token, which is going to help us out a lot. Like I said, you can use that to re-roll your dice. We're going to give those to each of our characters as well. Once that's done, we're going to check our artifact container on the armor card and place the corresponding artifact container on the PDA. Now, we don't have to put one out there because the PDA starts with the basic container already on your player board. At this point, each player sets their stalker radiation dosage to 0. If they have any artifacts equipped, they increase it to according to the highest value on the artifact. Remember, we have that artifact that has 5. If we wish to put it onto our characters, somebody is going to start with 5 radiation, which could potentially not be the greatest. Each player sets their stalker's HP to their maximum, and each player takes 1 game round order card and help card and put it next to their PDA. Place the token help card with their each players when they reach it. So within reach. So here's our player cards. I'll show you those in just a second. We'll leave the zone survival help card in the box as it's not used when you play in the campaign. There is another way of playing the game, and that is zone survival. That's kind of a single mission type scenarios that you can complete just for fun, but they're not a campaign. And this is where I'm making sure to focus more on the campaign in this one. So we have technically done all this already, as you've seen. And the only question is whether or not I take the eye with me. I think we're going to leave it in the stash. The reason I do that is because going up to 5 radiation is then I would be taking 1 green die of damage to have that thing. One thing I do want to mention is if we did have this card with us, if I would have had an improved container with us, which we don't have, this would have gone down to 3, which would have been a lot more easy to deal with because I would have just had a 3, which means I wouldn't be taking any radiation damage when it came to the enemy zone phase of the turn order. So without this though, I think this is going to be a liability. We'd be taking almost 1 damage each, or 1 green die worth of damage each turn, which isn't going to be that great. So like I said, that's why we're not going to use it for this particular campaign mission. At this point, we'll move into the game setup. So we'll place all the different decks that we need in a convenient spot. We'll leave the middle of the board for the mission map, which you will see shortly. We'll place token trays and decks next to everything. I have those all set up along with with the anomaly cards, enemy cards, and overlay maps according to our scenario setup. And then we'll find the setup page in the mission to begin. So let's quickly go to that setup page so you can see what we're going to be putting out on the board and what enemies and things are going to be of there and what anomalies. Here's our mission setup. It looks kind of out of control, and I'll show you when this is all set up what it looks like if in the board. But do know that the way this game is played is you have either you have some anomalies out on the board. On top of it, these are all overlay cards which are going to affect the mission and be either discarded or are going to have secrets underneath them that you're going to have to reveal. So it does keep the game fresh as you move through this, trying to figure out what you're supposed to be doing. Now, of course, we have to save the person. We'll see where so maybe one of these cards is that person. We'll see how this all plays out. It does tell us we are going to have two different types of anomalies out there. We have electro and gravitational, and we'll talk about that when we go to the setup. We also have an mission objective that we're going to have to look at, and we have our environment deck as well. And you'll see all those in just a second. Let's quickly go through all the different setups so you can see what it takes to get this game going. So we're going to place out our map tiles 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, shown like in the diagram that I just showed. We'll take our environment setup. We'll grab all the cards out of the mission box A. That looks like this. This is our mission box. I've actually already set everything up, but it did come with 2 sets of cards in here. So I've took everything out of this box, so we're all set to play our first mission, infiltrate the abandoned camp and find the missing stalker. This is our mission. So mission complete? No, it's not completed. It is just the first mission. So it starts like this in the box. If it's completed, you would put it back like that. That's kind of awesome. All right. At this point, I'm going to take out all the cards. I'm going to find A101. That is going to be our mission objective card. And for this particular mission, we are going to find and rescue Dalek, and we're going to escape from the bandit camp. If any stalker dies, the mission is lost. Find and resolve mission event number 7, a fatality. This game does have a fail forward system, so if you do fail a mission, that does not mean that the game is over. You get to keep on going, or it might tell you to replay the mission depending on what that card actually says. There's an A105 and A107. We have to pick one of those at random, which we'll do shortly. Then we're also going to take all of these cards that were shown on that overlay at the picture down below here. These are the overlay cards that I was talking about. We're going to put those out on the board, and we're going to keep the remaining environment cards next to the map so it's ready. For the anomalies, we're going to draw a random gravitational type anomaly, and we're also going to place electro out there as well. Then we're going to grab a random gravitational anomaly overlay, either 3, 4, 3, 5, or 8, and place on the map. We're also going to do the same thing with electro, grabbing 6, 7, 11 and placing one randomly out there. We're going to put an artifact token underneath each of those anomalies, standees, or miniatures if you have them, for the to know that those are there. Here is pretty much most of the map. It's pretty much the entire thing. Now, like I said, it did tell us we have to take 2 of these cards, so I took this one out, and we're going to put this one out on the board. It's there. We also have one up here. There's an overlay 7 card there, and I've removed this one, so we do not have to play with those 2 cards, or they might come into effect later in the game. I have put out all the terrain that we're going to need. Where you need to put terrain is it does have these yellow lines. That's where you're going to put your terrain, and there's even some 3D terrain you can put out, or also you could build the terrain. So I've built this whole thing up, and it shows where some of the windows go, also shows where doors go as well. There's also a door over here. These 2 things are windows, and it's showing here what those are. So we have a window here, a door here, and a door here. So that's why I've placed this down like this. So we have 2 doors and a window, and there is a whole guide on how a whole book on how you can set up this 3D terrain. It looks super cool. It looks a little cluttered, but I think it really brings this game alive. I've put the enemies out there. We'll talk about those in just a second, but do know here are the overlays that the game comes with, and those are going to be placed down into the board, and then everything plays on top of it. Underneath each of these anomalies, we do have those artifact tokens that we can try to gain. Those artifacts, like you saw, the eye is super good, but of course they come at a cost, potentially having some radiation damage coming. All these different tokens and stuff, it'll tell us how to place down in just a second. I just wanted to quickly show you what some of the board looked like. Now, of course, it's not exactly perfectly aligned with everything, but it's pretty darn close, and I think it's pretty awesome. I love these little barrels that are here, and of course, all this is going to block potential line of sight and things of that nature, and I'll talk about that when we get to it as we go forward. But just look at the presence that this game has on the board. It looks so cool. The second map that they show is the setup of all of the enemies and tokens that are out on the map. I just want to quickly show you the picture of it, and then I'm going to talk you through most of this setup so you can see when I'm talking about them, you'll know where they are and what they're talking about when it comes to where they go on the map. Here's the rest of the setup. I'm going to place my stalkers at the starting point. I'm going to get our enemies ready by getting the 2 different tokens and the enemy cards ready. Then we'll get our standees and our enemy or miniatures ready to go. The yellow ones are going to be our bandit rifle enemies. enemies, and our red ones are going to be the shotgun enemies, and they're going to go into particular places with particular facings based on that map that you saw. Now, the cool thing about this game is it tells you that we're going to grab the red one and put that on the bandit shotgun enemy card. That tells you when it activates and where it was going to be placed on the board and things of that nature. But the cool thing about this game is, check this out, they have 2s and 1s. So for example, if this bandit shotgun enemy is supposed to have the 2 and the rifle enemies had a 1, they actually would not be allies. And if they ever came in contact with each other, they would potentially go after one another and not your stalker. So as the game progresses and you get more or different types of enemies out on the board, being able to manipulate where they go and how they interact with each other could actually be beneficial to your stalkers, which I think is pretty awesome. I think that's a neat little thing in the game. The next thing we're going to get is our 16 loot tokens. We have those out on the map already. Then we have our unknown tokens. Now these are based on stalkers. We have 2, so I have one that has nothing, one that has 2 yellow enemies, and 2 that have 2 single red enemy out there. And they're again placed based on the mission that you're playing. And I did show them on the map down here. You could if you want to go back and take a look at the map, feel free. Next, we're going to get our event deck out. This event deck is an A1 event deck. It starts here. Now, it does say find both mission cards 2. So we got 2 of them here. So we're just going to take these 2 out, give them a little truffle shuffle here. I don't know which one's which here. We're just going to mix them up like this. Probably hit the camera about 5 times and put them back in there. There we go. All right. So we got number 2. We're going to place this one off to the side. We may need to reference that one again at some point, but we do have our mission deck ready to go, and we'll stack them from 1 to 7, which they actually come like that. Now, remember, it does come with a random event on top, and it told me here to leave this random event card in the mission box. It may be needed later during the mission. So again, I'm going to put that with our number 2 mission, other 2 mission card, just in case we may need it later. All right, that's it. That's all you need to do to set the game up. It actually is a little bit to set up, but once you get it set up, it looks super cool, and I can hardly wait to try. Now, of course, before we start that, this game doesn't normally come with the playmat. This is part of the all-in pledge, but it does give you the areas for all these different cards. So we have the different type of enemy activations. If you injure an enemy, you can grab a wound card. We have I've only put down the tier 1 stuff. If we need the tier 2 stuff, I'll bring it out. But we have the tier 1 attachments, weapons, and armor. We have our artifacts here. These are the 2 anomalies that are out on the board right now. These are all the different enemy cards that we could eventually find in this game. Here's the bandit cards we were told to place out here. So we have our rifleman, and what we see on this card is, first, this is like a mob type character. They're basically the weakest type characters, but there's probably a lot of them out there. It's going to move 2 spaces. It only has 1 health. This is its line of sight. It can see 3 spaces forward and 1 to each side. When you decide to shoot this, if it tells you that you can pick your target, you can choose to shoot the head. If it doesn't tell you that, it will tell you then you just shoot the torso. Based on the amount of successes you get, you're going to do particular things. So for example, if I get 4 successes, I'm going to do a light wound. I'll draw one of these cards and we would resolve it. 6 would give it a heavy wound, and 9 would make it lose 1 health. And of course, it only has 1 health, so 1 health, dead enemy. If you hit it in the head, it just dies. When it goes to attack you, it's going to do 7 damage. Now remember, we only have like 14 and 15 health, so that could be like almost half our damage. This game is brutal when it comes to them attacking you. You do not want enemies attacking you if you can at all help it. It has a range of 3 with its weapon. The dealie with this thing is, though, of course, with your armor, you can roll a green die to try to help prevent the amount of damage, and you might have little items that you could use as well. But just know that getting shot is bad. Really, really bad. Every enemy does have a special ability, and we'll resolve those if they come up. The bandit here, shotgunner, he doesn't do 7 damage, he does 9 damage. It's 9 damage, but he pretty much is the same as the rifleman, just carrying a different weapon. And of course, here's the 2 different colored markers that are going to indicate which ones we activate and how. There's a bunch of random events up here, and if the game ever tells us to draw one, our deck is ready to go. At this point, we are going to begin the game. Sorry about the long setup, but the game does have quite a bit to get through, and this is the beginning of the campaign. Once you get going, the campaign probably moves a little bit faster when it comes to setting things up. Here is the game round order. It's going to start with the event phase. The event phase will draw our new event, apply any instant effects if present, and then move on to the player phase. So our top event is going to be the 1A event card from our mission deck. So let's flip that over and read what it says. It says, "A look from the shadows." You emerge from the twilight of the forest near the bandits' camp. You see only a few buildings up ahead, decrepit and partially ruined. Light flickers in a few windows. A sentry coughs outside, and another yawns loudly. Then you spot an anomaly swirling on the outskirts of the camp. Great. The air is wet and filled with tension. You move onward. At the end of the round, we have early birds. Resolve one hidden token closest to the lead stalker. Then I'll place 5 minus the number of character random events on top of the event deck. At that point, then we would reset all turn tokens and refresh the lead stalker token. Start the next round by drawing and resolving a new event. We'll place this card right here so it reminds us of what we have to do when we get to the end of the round. Now, there isn't any instant effects for this, so we don't have to worry about that. At this point, we'll move into the player phase. Players now carry out their turns one at a time in clockwise order. Before your turn starts, you may decide to postpone your turn and proceed to the next player's turn. After each of your turns, if you end in line of sight of an enemy, it will react. Otherwise, you'll move on to the next player. And when all players have finished both of their turns, proceed to the enemy's end zone phase, which will be down here. So let's quickly turn this over and look at some of the basic actions you can do with all of your characters here. First one we have is movement. Now notice there's an arrow. That would mean you move that particular token down. Because it's pointing here, you would move this down. So these actions are not free. These are ones you have to actually use your token for. It says move up to 3 spaces, and remember about attention rules. So as you move, you're going to be placing your attention token out where you are. Unless you do a careful movement, you can perform this action to move up to a space in an enemy's line of sight. I can move 1 space, but I don't place my attention token. Now you can prepare. That's another action where I would gain one of each of those tokens, a nuts and bolts type token, and one of those focus tokens as well, and any number of times in any order. Stalkers on your space may also equip or unequip anything or exchange any items amongst themselves. As an action, I can reload my gun. Now, if I do have one of these, which is pretty awesome, means that this is no longer an action that costs me a turn or a turn action. It's going to be free, and I don't discard it. It's only checking to see if I have it. We can use a pick up action where we can pick up either one of those items from off the board, one of these from the board, or if we're on a space with an artifact token, we can grab the artifact. Oh, so good. Then we have a nuts and bolts, which is up to range 3. I can place one of these onto a chosen anomaly symbol, and I'll talk about that in just a second. We could also do a decoy. Now, I can't perform this if I've already put my red token out there. So if I've said maybe I've taken a shot, I can't throw a decoy out there because they already know that something came from somewhere. I can discard one of my nuts and bolts tokens, and I can place my yellow token up to place on the chosen space up to range 3. I can draw a yellow enemy card and then resolve the card for people near that token. And you'll see how that works potentially. We also always have a knife with us. We have to be in the space with an enemy, and I can roll 3 dice. I can pick the body part I want to attack, and I can then, if I kill him, I get to reduce the amount of attention I have around me. So those are the actions you can do, and your characters at the start of each of the game, they can do 2. Now, of course, that could change based on items, artifacts, or even if you've taken damage. Now, we already talked about the nuts and bolts action, and you can place a bolt onto an anomaly symbol. Well, that means, for example, I could throw this 1, 2, 3 spaces and put this onto that symbol there. If I were ever to move into this space, I would have to roll an anomaly die. The anomaly die is a 10-sider that has variable different symbols on it. Then they're more based on the amount of times you could potentially roll it. There's 1 blue, for example, but 4 red ones. So you don't want to really deal with the red ones. So, but if I move on to here and the nuts and bolts token is already covering that, I don't have to roll it because it's not actually going to do any damage to me. I'm sorry, I would still have to roll the die, but I would ignore any symbols that have those nuts and bolts on them. So for example, say I put one here and I decide to move into here and move into here, I'd still have to roll the die. And if I got this symbol, I'd have to take the damage from this particular area. But if I didn't, and I rolled this symbol, I'd be fine because I actually put my nuts and bolts on that symbol. Now, if you ever run through multiple spaces in this anomaly, the anomalies are the most unique thing in this game when it comes to kind of rules around them. If you run all the way through an anomaly, die, you still roll the die once, but any of the spaces you've moved through could potentially do this. So the green, the blue, and even this purple one over here would potentially be fatal to my character. You would look at the card of the anomaly and have to deal with what it is. So for example, our stalkers move toward the space of the anomaly center and lose 6 HP for each space they've moved. This movement doesn't activate the anomaly and can be interrupted. So that's when you actually roll this. After the entity finishes movement, roll the die. That'd be bad. So we'd have to roll this die. For example, say I got a purple, that would have activated this symbol on there. Now, of course, the purple one is the second most active symbol on this die. The red is the most, the green is the blue is the fewest, and the green's kind of in the middle there as well. So that is kind of how this anomaly works, and that's how that nuts and bolts action works. It's the only action that's kind of really unique to this. Most of them you're going to have seen in other games. Now, since it's a stealth game, we don't really want to be seen doing too many things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our character move 1, 2. I'm going to use a movement action first, and then for my second action, I'm going to shoot that guy. The loudest thing you can do, but I've got a plan. It's going to be an absolutely terrible plan. Well, actually, maybe it might be good. We'll see. We're going to try to take that guy out. So if we go to our player board here, we're going to slide this down 1 for the movement and then 2 for this action. At that point, we're also going to place out our token. Now, normally when I made my movement action, I would put that yellow token down. But since we're going to make an attack action, I'm just going to flip it to red and place it right down where my character is. And we're going to fire with the AKMU74U. I'm going to use a single shot, so I'm going to get to roll 2 green dice. I also get to roll 2 yellow dice as well. Now, he doesn't get any extra stuff from that, and I'm going to lower my ammo by 1 for doing that. Now this ammo, or my gun here, does allow me to roll 2 green, and then I get the 2 yellow, and I also get to pick a body part. So we are going to pick the head, and we need to do a real good roll here in order to get him. Oh my gosh, you kidding me? That's how you start the game. This is awesome. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and because this says accurate range of 2, my accurate range is 2. I'm shooting 2 spaces away, so that actually becomes 4. So 4, 5, 6, 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? The MKM054OA. He's super dead. So if we look at our character here, for 7, I get to do 1 damage to him, so he is super dead. He only has 1 health, so I was able to take that guy off the board. Now, whenever you kill a human character, they are going to drop a random loot token. So we're going to take one of these tokens from the supply and place it down where he is. Now, it is going to cost me an action to pick that up if I want to, but that was so good. Now that these actions are complete, we're going to check each enemy in line of sight to your stalker is going to attack you. And if we look at the board, there is 1 here, and there's also 1 here. But look, this guy's looking in that direction, so he doesn't see us. And this one does see us, but he only has a line of sight range of 3. So we're going to count the zones as we move through them. So this is 1 zone here, 2 zones here, and 3 zones here. I'm too far away for him to see me, so he doesn't have line of sight to me. So that's the end of his turn. And I'll be able to do 2 more actions before these guys actually do something. So it gives me a chance to get out of here so that they're still going to go after that red token from where it is, but hopefully I'm not going to be anywhere near that token when it happens. Okay, that was such an amazing shot. I've got so many different things I could do with her. Here are some options I have. 1, I could move 1, 2, 3 over to here, and I could take a shot at this guy all the way down here, and it's at range 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, so I'd be able to kick in almost all my bonuses. Or with this guy out of the way, with such a good shot, I can move 1, 2 up to here, and I could help out my friend here by taking a shot at this guy. 1, 2, 3, 4 right there. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fire at that character first. This is also a great time to talk about how exactly these map spaces work. When it comes to the amount of people that can fit into a map space, it's equal to kind of how the board is laid out here. So for example, I can fit 2 people inside one of these, 4 in one of those, up to like 6 or something into one of these spaces here. So you can fit multiple people on there. Now, of course, if you ever get to a point where you can't fit somebody in, you'd be bumping 1 character away, depending on who you're. So for this example, this was full. I'd have to bump this guy out of there, but I am able to move into a space where there's multiple people. Okay, I'm excited for where I am. I am going to shoot this guy 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces away with my bolt action rifle. Now, of course, I only have 3 bullets in this gun, but I am going to use this aimed shot. It says you may only perform this attack against targets within range 4. I get to gain one of these, but you can only have one. So, but I do get to pick a body part, and you know we're going to shoot this guy right in the head. Now, before I make that shot, I do have to do both of my actions to do it, and I have to place my red token out on the map. And I think it's okay to have both our tokens in the same spot. Now, this gun is super good because I get to roll 2 green dice. I also get to roll 3 yellow dice because I am making attack at up to range 4. So I get to roll 3 yellow dice and 2 green dice. We'll roll these up and see how this all goes. If I can actually not drop them on the ground, we'll roll them up, see how we do. Oh my goodness, this is amazing. So we got 3, 4, 5, and now remember, her accurate range is 3 to 6, and she's shooting 4. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I get to turn every 2 of these into a success. So I've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Guess what? He is not going to be around for long. This guy has also been shot off the board. He was sniped by my super awesome sniper. Now, to take that shot, I did have to use one of my bullets, bringing it down to 2. And that's the end of her turn. So now we're going to move back over to Borsuk's turn. And at this point, I did not expect this to go as well as it's going. I expected maybe to take out a guy and probably run from them. But at this point, I almost feel like taking all 4 of these guys off the board. Now, of course, that does leave one more character way off to the side here. But I think we might be able to do this. This might be super fun. I don't see why not. Maybe this is a bad idea to take all these enemies off the board. I don't know. But I think enemies off the board is a good thing, right? So we're going to do a move action to here. Now, he does have a visual range of 3 forward and 1 to each side, but this is the only square he can see into. Now, the interesting thing is he can see into both of those squares because this square touches both of those squares. I'm going to take a shot from here with my second action. Now, that is going to move my red token to this place here, the blue one. We'll put the blue one right there. She's the one that's supposed to be the purple one because she got a purple stand. And he's again going to take another shot with his gun. Now, this is going to be another all or nothing type shot because I am only able to use 2 and 2. I am at my max accurate range. Now, I could choose just to shoot him in the torso, but I would need 9 to instantly kill him instead of 7. But if I don't get the 7, that means that I don't actually do any damage to this guy. So we'll see how this goes. I really want to take this guy out. That'd be really good. Oh my goodness. Now, I just want you to know this is only on one side of the dice. This is only on one side of the dice. Oh my gosh. So 4, 8, 9, 10, 11. I got 11 successes that time. Oh, these poor guys, they're nowhere to be seen. This guy's super dead too. Now, I forgot to drop a item for the guy we shot from across the board. So I'm going to place that on the board. And I'm also going to place one for the enemy we just killed. So we'll place this one right here. Now, sadly, this guy could probably find him because a lot of them red. Now, when you go to activate the enemies, they're going to activate based on the token that's out here. And red is the most obvious token, and it's going to be the one that makes them do the most. Most likely, he's going to be moving to try to attack this character. So it's only 1, 2, 3 away. I'm sure that this guy's going to get here and probably shoot him real good. So I think we need to prevent that from happening. And we're going to do that by being not stealthy at all. Apparently, this is not a stealth game for Baron. She's going to move 1, 2, 3 over to here. Her token is going to stay here because the yellow token is less than the red token. So wherever the red token is, it's going to stay there. And I'm going to move 3 more, 1, 2 over to here. And at this point, I am going to drink my energy drink. I get to gain a focus token. Again, I don't need it, but I get to perform my next action as a free action, and I discard this card. So the action, the action I'm going to do is going to be a shoot action again. So it's going to bring me down to 1, but I'm going to be able to again shoot with my bolt gun. I'm going to use the aimed shot. So I'm going to be able to use 2 green dice with this, again, gaining a focus token, but I don't need it because my guys are ridiculous. And this is going to be a 1, 2, 3, 4 range shot. So I get to add all the bonuses that my sniper has. So my sniper lets me roll the 2 green and the red, and I'm able to pick a body part. So I'll go for his head again and see how we do. We got a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I also get +1 because of her ability that says that whenever I attack an enemy outside its line of sight, I get +1 for the attack roll. And of course, I am outside of his line of sight. It's only 3. So again, we did about 104 successes. So we're going to remove this guy from the board and drop down a potential item token there. And that's the end of him. Now we do only have 1 bullet left in that gun, and I am out of actions. I had performed both of my actions. And before we move into the enemy phase, or I shouldn't say the enemy phase, the enemy's end zone phase, I do have to do one thing. I forgot, if you look at this thing, it does say as you're sliding this down, increase your radiation dosage if you were in a space with radiation. I did stop in a space with radiation. There is 2 radiation in this zone. So I am going to take 2 radiation. So we're going to tick our Geiger counter up to 2. Now I can reduce that by any armor that I might have. So this character does carry the NBC suit, which map radiation is going to be 1 less. So I'm only going to take 1 for going into that space. Now, if I were to come running through all these spaces that have radiation, when you finally finish your movement, you're going to take radiation damage equal to the highest radiation damage on the squares. You're not going to add it all up and take all that radiation damage. It's just going to be equal to the highest value that's there. The other thing I need to do is move my red token to here because that is where I made my latest, most loud action. Moving to the third part of the round, the enemy's end zone phase, I'm going to do draw and resolve an enemy activation card. If there's at least 1 red token on the map, there's 2, because I went gun crazy, then I'll draw a red card. Otherwise, I would draw a yellow card and activate that one. At this point, we would suffer any radiation exposure and reduce any radiation dosage. The exposure, that is when you would check your Geiger counter to see where you are on the radiation scale. So if I was up here, let's say, I would take the 1 damage and then I would tick it back to its lowest form. So at this point, he only has 1 radiation right now because of the zone he moved into. So he's not going to be taking any radiation damage at this time. Then I'm going to discard all of the different tokens for example, these 2 tokens, the nuts and bolts, and that's the no visibility token that if we see it, I'll explain a little bit more about it. Then all enemies are going to discard any pin down tokens they have, and we're going to reduce the attention of all the stalkers that isn't in line of sight and resolve the end of round effects. So let's start by drawing the enemy activation card. Now I am worried that even though we took a lot of those enemies off the board, this enemy is still probably going to get to one of our characters and hurt one of our characters. Most likely it's going to be Milady. We'll see how this goes. So we're just going to shuffle this deck up a little bit. We're going to draw our top card and see what we have got. It says, find them. All yellow enemies move up to their movement value towards the closest red point here, and that is going to be this guy. The riflemen are yellow enemies, so they are going to be the ones that are going to move towards the closest red. So they're going to take the shortest path possible to get to this without hitting any type of environmental issues. So they're going to move 1, 2 to right there. He still does not have line of sight. If an enemy has line of sight to an attention, move that attention by 2 spaces towards its owner. So for example, let's say I had actually shot somebody up here and I was here. Now my attention token would move 2 spaces towards me because he might have an idea that I might have ran from there. Now at this point, I am going to activate all the enemies +1 per player. So I'm going to activate 3 enemies that are going to enemies closest to a red marker and move them up to their speed toward the closest red marker. So at this point, I'm going to move this guy 2 spaces. This is going to be bad. He's move 1, 2 to right here. And then on the bottom here, it now says the yellow enemies will look around. That means they're going to check their surroundings up to 360 degrees. And they're going to check their line of sights to see if they see anything. They obviously see this character right here. Then it says enemies attack a target in their line of sight. The enemy has -2 attack during this attack. So I only am going to get hit for 5 damage from the rifle bandit here because he normally does 7. So instead he's going to do 5 points of damage and he's going to stop right on that space and shoot me. I'm going to discard that card and I'm going to have to now take this damage. But I do have a yellow, or sorry, not a yellow, I've got a leather jacket. A leather jacket is going to give me the ability to roll 1 green die and try to absorb some of that defense. Now, if I was in one of these spaces here, you can see that there's a defense token or defense symbol here, I'd be able to gain 1 defense against this particular attack, but it only works against ranged attacks. If the character was with me in the same place and I had that symbol in my square, I would not be able to receive the benefits of this particular defense token. I don't know why I don't have a defense token. There's a lot of cover right over here, but that's too bad. She's going to get hit for 7, but can try to reduce it. Let's hope we get a 3 on this die. We got a 3 on the die. And it just continues. So I get to only take, so it's going to do 7, minus 2 is 5, minus 3 is it's only going to do 2 damage to me. I'm going to go down to 12 health. So we'll take our health track and go from 14 down to 12. Now I get to reduce the attention of any stalkers that are not in line of sight. That is this character here. Borsuk, sorry, I'm probably saying it wrong completely. He's going to go to yellow, but Milady's is still going to stay red because she's in line of sight with this guy. Probably not for long. I have a feeling this guy's about to get a bullet in the head. So at this point, we're going to do our end of round effects, which is going to be the yellow part of this card. It says I have to resolve a hidden token closest to the lead stalker. That's going to be the one in the building next to him. Then I'm going to place 5 minus 2 random events on top of the event deck. So I'll take 1, 2, 3 cards and just place them on top of the event deck so they're all set to go. All right, then it says reset all turn tokens and refresh the lead token if you used it. I did not use it, so he still remains the lead stalker. I think that first round went better than anything in the world. Now we do have to resolve this token, and we have found ourselves a red enemy looking up. So the red enemy is our shotgun enemies. So we're going to grab our shotgunner from the pile of dead dudes and place him into this building looking forward. All right, now that means that in order for me to get, well, I can't get to him without him seeing me. If he would have been potentially facing this direction, I could have came through this door and got him without him seeing me. But that's not going to happen because he does have a line of sight to the places right adjacent to him. Our lead stalker is Borsuk. He is going to go first. Now the question is, do I go in here and take this guy out? Or do I just continue on? I think we take him out because that's the name of the game. That's what you do in stealth games. You just take everybody out. Now I am going to use a move action first, and then I'm going to do an attack action. But I think I'm going to use my knife. I could shoot him again with this gun if I wanted to. And I could shoot him. I would take a single, I took 2 green dice, but I get 2 green dice and 2 yellow dice, and I get to deal pin down. Now, if I decided to, I could do my knife, which would be just 3 green dice if I wanted to. I'm not going to get my accurate range with this particular character because I am not going to be at range 2 trying to shoot him from in this building. Now, I could shoot him through a window if I wanted to, but that's not going to happen. And also, he's going to get +1 defense because of this, of where this character is. So I think it is going to be beneficial to move 1 right into there, which then automatically places my red token down because he sees me. I'm going to move 2 into his space, and we're going to probably, and I'm going to take a knife attack against him. Now, interestingly, it does say on this card that when a stalker enters this building, immediately flip this card. So when I moved into this building, I'm going to have to flip this card. Now, hopefully, this doesn't say something like 9 people jump out and attack you. Let's see what the card says. It says right here, Radio Shack, not even a trace of a prisoner. If there is a token in this building, resolve it. There is not. Find and resolve a random A110A cell key location card and discard this card. There are 2 of these cards. We're going to shuffle these up a little bit, and we're going to see which one we get. We're going to shuffle these up. We're going to give them a little shuffle here, moving up and down. There we go. Shuffle. All right, we got this one. It says right here, cell key location shed. Someone has thrown a spare cell key into the electric anomaly in the shed. Keep in mind that there are different types of anomalies in the zone, Stalker. Global. Each stalker may perform the following action I can take the action at range 0 of a blue space. So I have to be on the blue space, and I can search for the cell key. I can find and resolve A111A cell key. So I'll place this next to the map, or I'll place this into the area with the rest of our missions. So we have to find a cell key somewhere. All right. And that's the end of that. Now we're going to make our knife attack. So I get to roll 3 green dice against this, and I can pick a body part if I wish. I don't think I'm going to do do that, I think we're just going to go for his torso. The reason why is there's a couple 3s on this die. There's 1 3, sorry, a couple 2s and some 1s, and then there's a blank one. And I need to get 7 successes on 3 dice to get this guy. So that means I need to roll pretty much 2 2s and a 3. And I don't think that's going to happen with 3 dice. Because remember, there is not a perfect range with the knife attack. So we're just going to roll the 3 dice, go for his chest, and see how it goes here. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. That would cause a light wound. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my focus token, and we're going to discard that to roll these 2 dice again and see what we get. We got a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So lucky for me, I chose to do it this way. If I'd have gone for the head, I would have done nothing. But instead, getting a 6 against the bandit shotgun means that I am going to draw a heavy wound card. So we'll take our our wound deck here, give it a truffle shuffle here, and we'll draw a card out of here and see what has happened to our person here. Heavy wound. If this enemy already has that particular token, it takes a damage. Otherwise, this enemy is going to gain exposed. Exposed right here says that if the enemy would suffer a light wound, they suffer a heavy wound instead, and then discard this token. If the enemy would suffer a heavy wound, they suffer 2 damage instead, then discard this token. After any movement, discard this token. Now, if a Stalker would have it, then any attack that was done by them would take 3 more damage. Then discard the token. After the movement, discard the token. So I have to try to take this guy out. He does get an exposed token, so we'll drop this token next to the enemy. And since I've done my 2 actions, this enemy is going to attack. And that's because here it says each enemy within line of sight to your Stalker attacks the Stalker. Now this enemy does 9 damage, but I get to reduce it by 2, so I'm going to take 7. So we'll drop our token 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 down to 8. I lost almost half my life, which is not good. Now I could, as a free action, flip this token, pass it to the other Stalker, and heal by 2 and gain the focus token back, which is probably going to happen. But before we do that, she's going to make an attack. Now, sadly, this is not going to help her at all. She's not going to be in her accurate range. She's not going to be, this is just going to be bad all over the place. But I'm going to use my first action to attack using a single shot, which means now I have no more bullets. I only am able to use 1 green die and 2 yellow dies against this guy because I don't have, he's not in my accurate range. He's not, I could use an aim shot, but I can only do it at a range of 4, and he's at 2. So I can only just shoot him with this. This is not, I apparently am not very good at no scoping. So I'm just going to roll my dice and hopefully take this guy out. And for my second action, I could choose to reload my gun. Now the deal is though, if I reload my gun, according to our actions that we can take, it's going to be free as long as I have this token here. Now if I have to use this token to re-roll my dice to do any type of damage, it's going to be an action to reload my gun. So we really have to have this roll count so that I can reload it for free back to 3 using this here, and then for my second action, shoot him again and hopefully take him out. That's going to be our plan. Hopefully our plan goes well. We'll roll our dice and hope for the best. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I could use a focus token to re-roll some of these, but 4 is at least a light wound, so we'll draw our light wound, or draw our enemy wound card here and see what we have. We have light wound. This enemy gains an exposed token. So both these enemies have exposed tokens, which is kind of funny. Now remember, I did get to keep my focus token, so I'm going to be able to reload my gun for free. So I'm going to discard my ammo token and go back to 3 on our weapon. Then I am going to attack again with our gun, which is going to again allow me to lower my ammo by 1. And I'm going to roll 3 dice again. I get 2 for her and then 1 for the bullet. Let's roll this up and see how we do. We got a total of 1, 2. Now remember, those are not going to be the extra 4 because I'm not in my accurate range. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't have enough to get to 6, which is going to be a heavy wound. But because of the exposed token, the light wound becomes heavy, and a heavy wound would actually become 2 damage. But I didn't get to the heavy wound. I was really hoping I could because I know I could take this guy out. Instead, we're going to draw an enemy card again and hope that we get something good here. Heavy wound. If this enemy already has an exposed token, oh, they take 1 damage. Good, that's fantastic. Okay, he's super dead. We got him, yay! Okay, so that guy dies because he had already taken he already has an exposed token, so instead he's going to take 1 damage. That removes him from the board and allows us to drop one of these item tokens out on the board where he was. Those are her 2 actions. She doesn't have any people in line of sight to her, so she's not going to be attacked. I do only have 2 bullets left in my gun, and I don't have any other bullets, so we might have to like start searching the grounds for some weaponry. Okay, meanwhile, back at the stab factory here, I'm going to continuously stab this guy until he dies. I've got 2 actions, so I can stab him twice. I'm going to stab him with my green dice here. Now this still stays here because that's where she is when she makes her shots, but after I kill this guy, I get to lower this token to a yellow. Well, if I kill him, we'll see if I'm actually able to do that. Now before we do that though, I'm going to use this right here to flip this token and pass it to the next stalker. And I get to heal 2 and gain a focus token. So I'm going to gain my focus token, put it here, and heal 2. I go up to 10. We'll roll our 3 dice, hopefully get some good numbers here. We got 1, 2, 3. That's not enough to do anything, so I'm going to use my focus token to re-roll these 2 dice into a 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We did 7 to his body, which is a heavy wound. So we'll flip over our card. Oh, actually, it doesn't have to, I don't have to flip over my card because he's already exposed. And when he's exposed and he were to take a heavy wound, he instead would suffer 2 damage. And since he only has 1, he's going to just be dead. We'll then take a token and place it out on the board. And since it only took 1 action to kill him, I'm going to use my second action to pick this up. I also get to change my token to yellow. When you kill somebody with your knife, you get to lower your threat, or the token to a yellow. I get to reveal this and see what we have found. We have found ourselves a green. Oh, that's an artifact. We found ourselves an artifact. All right, that's amazing. I'm going to shuffle up my artifact deck here, and we're going to draw an artifact. That's going to be super good. Oh my goodness, so good. All right, let's see what we found. We have found ourselves a jellyfish, gravitational one. After rolling for defense, you may roll the anomaly die. If I get a 10, I gain plus 10 to the defense roll, discard this artifact. Otherwise, I can gain 1, 2, or 3 based on it to the defense. Now, I have to take 4 radiation in order to hold this if I want it. Well, I don't really think I get a choice. I think I just get it. And that's going to be okay. That's going to be just fine. I'm not a super big fan of it, but you know what? That's just how it's going to go. So we'll place this right up here in the artifacts, and you can have multiple artifacts. I can have 2 more if I find them. Like I could have brought the eye with me as well, which now I kind of wish I would have, because I know that a 4 and 5 is pretty much going to be the same on the Geiger counter. It's just going to go up to here. I'm going to take damage and drop back, and every turn I'm just going to keep ticking it to 4, from what I understand. So that's going to be Bad News City, but that's how it goes. All right, he is done. We'll move over to my lady. She's going to use her first action to move 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. I'm just going to kind of go over here. And then in my second action, I'll just move to there. This is still going to stay here because, of course, the red is more than the yellow. So her moving would have only been a yellow token. So that's going to stay here. Now, we don't have any other enemies on the board at this time, but I'm sure more are going to appear. But hopefully it'll give us some chance to hopefully regain some of our stuff and maybe even heal up our characters a little bit. Before I move to the end of the round, I do have to crank this to 4 because that's how much my artifact is going to cost me in radiation exposure. I have to put that up. Now, of course, I could be wrong about when this kicks in. I think it kicks in when you get the artifact, and you're going to take the damage, though, during the end phase when it comes to, or sorry, not the end phase, the enemies in zone phase when it comes to the suffer radiation exposure and radiation dosage. That's when it's actually going to have to deal with this. All right, so we're moving actually into that step, but the first thing we have to do is draw and resolve an enemy activation card. I don't believe I do that because there aren't any out on the board. Suffer from radiation exposure, which is going to be now. So if we look at him, he has a radiation dosage of 4, so he's going to suffer 1, and he's going to tick it back to 3. So he's going to suffer 1 die worth of damage. He takes 1, so he's going to go down to 9, which is, this is not good. He's on a ticking time bomb here, kind of. And at that point, then sadly, I think I have to bring it back to 4 again. So we're going to bring it back to 4. Because that's the radiation dosage this thing has to have. I might actually just use that pretty quick just to get rid of it. Then I'm going to discard any of the tokens we have out there and reduce the attention of all stalkers that aren't in line of sight, and then resolve the end of round effects. So both the tokens that are out here, this one's going to get discarded. That one's going to go to yellow. I shouldn't say discarded. It's going to go back onto his player board. And then we're going to do our end of round effects. There aren't any. And we'll move into the beginning of the next round. Now, of course, sadly, I just realized as I was moving into the third round, I forgot to do the draw a new event card and apply its instance effect if present. We only added them, but that would have been the end of turn. Then I should have drawn one of these at the beginning of the turn. So this should have actually drawn at the beginning of our turn here. Din in the air. There's a flap of many
Okay. What are these all have one from each stack?
Now, as everybody probably realized, I totally forgot to do the beginning of our first turn the last time. At the beginning, after we resolved all of this end of turn stuff, I was supposed to draw a new event card and apply its instance effect if present, but I totally forgot to draw a card. So this is going to be the card from the last turn. I should have drawn this. It says right here, hopefully this doesn't change too much. Irradiated finds. Your Geiger counter ticks frantically as something is hidden there. Lead Stalker draws one token from the token pool and look at it. You may increase your radiation dosage by 6 to resolve it. Either way, discard the token. Then at the end of the round, I'm going to reset all tokens and refresh the Lead Stalker token. Start the next round by drawing and resolving a new event card. Okay, so I could have looked at a token. I'm going to just say that we didn't look at a token. It's not going to have too much more effect on it because I wouldn't have taken anyway. 6 onto the Geiger counter would have been absolutely terrible. So I wouldn't have taken it anyway. So at this point, we are going to go into our third round, and I will be drawing our event card like I should have at the beginning of the event phase. So this time we have with us Opportunity. They don't expect what's coming. Instant. Lead Stalker chooses 1. Move up to 2 spaces or attack with your weapon. Oh, that would have been so good. But alas, that is not going to be the case. And then at the end of round, I'm going to resolve 1 token from each stack of the hidden tokens. Reset all turn tokens and refresh the Lead Stalker token. Start the next round by drawing and resolving a new event. That's going to be the end of the round. So the first thing I have to do is resolve my instant effect. So I have to decide whether or not I want Milady to move 2 spaces or attack their weapon. Well, I don't think she's going to be attacking with weapon. I actually don't want her to move either because I want her to be able to get the items that she's standing next to. So I'm actually not going to do either. Lead Stalker chooses 1. Move up to 2 spaces or attack the weapon. I'm going to move 2 spaces. Now, one thing I could do is I could move towards this building that we have to get to eventually because remember we have to get the key from this particular electric anomaly somehow. I don't know how we're going to do that. But I'm just going to, this is going to be kind of weird. We go 1, 2, there we go, just like that. That's my movement. And now that she is the lead stalker now at this point, so she's going to go first. She is going to use 2 actions to pick up 2 of these tokens. Hopefully one of them is ammo. The first one she found is going to be, it's going to be 2 items. That's awesome. And the second one is going to be 1 attachment, tier 1. Well, that's kind of cool. All right, those are her 2 actions for the turn. So let's grab our items, give them a little shuffle here, and draw a couple of these items that she now gets to keep, which would be kind of helpful, hopefully. We'll see how this all goes. All right, we found ourselves vodka. I can use it to drink to get rid of radiation, but I have to discard a focus token if I want to. Well, I get to keep that one. And we also found ourselves a smoke grenade. I can place no ability to see through that square token on the chosen space, and then I discard this card. All right, so we found those 2. Now we also found an attachment of level 1. So here are all the attachments that are level 1. So we're going to give these a little truffle shuffle here. We're going to draw one of these cards as well and see what we get. Now hopefully I can put this on my gear. We found ourselves a red dot sight. We'll see if we can attach it to our weapon. Well, good news. If you notice, our thing will line up with what is here. So I can put the red dot sensor or the red dot sight on, which says that whenever you attack with this weapon within range 2, I get to roll an extra green die. So her her accurate range is 3 to 6, which allows me to get that extra bonus on our green dice. But if I now shoot this gun at range 2, I'm going to at least be able to get to roll an extra die, which will be nice. So I'm basically rolling 2 green dice at anywhere from between range 2 to range 6. Oh, I guess no, only range 4 here, so range 3. At range 3, I'm not rolling that many dice. But for the sake of everything here, that's actually going to help us quite a bit. I'll place our items in our backpack and move over to our other character's turn. His first action is going to be use this bandage pack. He needs all the help he can get here. We need to heal ourselves 5 points and then discard this. So we go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 14 health. And for his second action, he's going to move 3 spaces, bringing him 1, 2, 3 to this space right here. And after moving, I'll have to place down his yellow marker just like that. Now, sadly, we have to get that key according to our card here that we have. The cell location is on the blue space, and the blue space is right here. Interestingly enough, though, this entire anomaly is covering almost this entire area here. So we have, in this one area, is 2 red, 2 purple, 2 green, and 2 blue. So no matter what I roll in the die, I'm going to get zapped. And being zapped by this thing is going to be bad news city. Also, if we come this direction, there's a red one out here. There's a red and purple one over on that square. Oh my gosh, this anomaly is just brutal. So we could do a bolt action to try to cover some of those up. We might have to wait till next turn to do that. So for this turn, I'm just going to grab this other token down here as my first action. And we found ourselves some ammo. That's absolutely fantastic. We needed that. So I'm going to grab an ammo clip and put it there. Then for my last action, I'm just going to move 1, 2, 3 to right here so that we are in this location here so we can start using a bolts action in the next turn. Now, since I moved, I do have to put my token there, and then we're going to move to our other character's turn. He's going to move into the exact same place we are. He's going to do a careful move. It doesn't really matter if he does or not, but it's only moving 1 space. So it's a careful move. Don't perform this action to move from a space to an enemy's line of sight. Move 1 space. Don't move or place your attention. Not a big deal. So I'm just going to move it over to here. He is going to carry his marker over there with him. He does have 1 more action left, but I don't want to use any actions. I could use the bolts action, which would really help me out. But if you notice at the end, during the enemy's end zone phase, I'm going to discard all of those from the map anyway. So I'm really only get 1 shot at this. That's about all I'm going to get. So we're going to have to spend our entire turn trying to have to deal with this. Plus, not to mention this token here, which could be another guy. Looking at our opportunity card here, it does say at the end of round, resolve 1 hidden token from each stack of hidden tokens. I don't think there's any stacks out there, but or else they are all considered stacks of 1. I'm not exactly sure. I guess just to make it more challenging, no matter what, we're going to resolve all of them on the board because this, in theory, it resolves 1 for each stack, and I'm just going to consider that these are all stacks of 1 each. So at this point, I am going to resolve all of those. Then we're going to reset our turn tokens, refresh the lead Stalker token, which we didn't use this turn, and we're going to go into the next round by drawing our next event card. Panned out from here, we'll start up in this place right here. We have found ourselves nothing. I was really hoping that nothing would have been there. We know there's no nothing here. That's the oh my gosh, there's 2 riflemen there. That is no good. We do not want riflemen in that place. I'm gonna have to shoot them. I don't think having these 2. Now the good news is they're facing forward. So they're not actually going to be seeing me right now because they can't see behind them. They have no sight to behind them. So I'm going to place them both in this room, which will be that will actually help us. Well, it doesn't help us if they're in the room, but it helps us if they're facing that way. The last one over here was going to be that red token then. Let's see what direction the red token is facing. It is facing in that direction. So we will put a shotgun enemy over in this building facing in that direction. At this point, I've reset all of our tokens, but we do have to suffer radiation exposure and reduce the radiation dosage on our characters and reduce the attention of each stalker that isn't in enemy's line of sight. So we're going to put our tokens back onto our board because they're both yellow, so we don't have to worry about those anymore. And like I said, the enemy cannot see us because they're facing backwards. And now I have to do my radiation exposure. So I'm going to roll a green die and take some damage here. We got, I took 3. That's terrible. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm not sure if this reduces it because this is map damage and this is not map damage. We are going to drop it back down to 3, and then our anomaly is going to bring it back to 4, or artifact, I mean, which is bad news. Now I could kick this artifact in. I could make him walk in that room and use this artifact, which then gives me the ability to gain plus 10 defense to a roll and discard the artifact. Now I could get maybe 1, 2, 3 to the roll, which wouldn't be very good, but the 10 would be awesome, which would be very, very good. Let's draw our next random event and see what we have found. We have found ourselves hole in your pocket. Oh, this is not going to be good. Lead Stalker, discard all of my bolts from your pockets. You may discard a focus token to ignore that. Oh no, that's no good. Oh my gosh. And then at the end of the round, I get to do the tokens and everything. Oh, do I really want to lose both of my bolts? Oh, that's brutal. Losing my bolts is bad. I need my bolts, in order especially to get that token back. So I guess I'm going to lose the focus token. But again, that's bad. I want my focus token too to help me re-roll. I guess I'm going to lose the focus token so I can keep the no, I need this focus token as well in order to help myself reload. Nope, losing the bolts. We're gonna lose both our bolts. I have a plan. It's not good. It's not a good plan, but I have a plan. And so we're gonna keep this and lose our bolts. Wow, that was brutal. All right, here's our plan. I'm gonna do one move to go back, but I'm gonna do a careful movement, so I'm not gonna be placing my token. Doesn't really matter, because my next is going to be, I am gonna take a shot with my bolt action rifle. We're gonna shoot this rifle. I'm gonna go down to 1 bullet left in my rifle, and we're gonna roll our dice. Now remember, I do have my red dot sight, which means if I'm at range 2, I get to roll an extra green die. So that puts me at 2 green dice and 2 yellow dice to try to take one of these guys down. Rolling 4 dice, we need to, now I don't get the optimal one with the extra green because I'm not at my optimal range, but I got ourselves 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 4. 4 is not bad. It's not good, but it's not bad. It is a light wound. So I will draw my card and see what light wound we got. We have this, if this enemy is already pinned, push it away. Otherwise, this enemy gains pinned. All right, so it's going to gain this pin token. Now, what that means for the enemy is it's not going to be able to react during the next enemy activation, but unless it has a line of sight to me, then it would. It's written right here on the card. Enemy activation with pin, don't activate when you resolve an enemy activation card. If an enemy has a pin token and it would react during the Stalker's turn, discard the token instead. So I did pin that person down. Those are the end of her turn. Now at this point, I'm going to use 1 action to move our character down here. In our second action, I am going to fire with my weapon. I'm going to use the single shot here to be able to target a body part. I'm going to get 2 green dice. I'm also going to get 2 yellow dice for him. And I am in my accurate range of 2 when I go to shoot these. Now I'm going to shoot the guy that is not pinned. All I need is 7 successes in order to take this guy out. And I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only got 5, because this right here is only going to pin the guy. That's not going to be good. I'm going to use since we got that awesome roll, I probably wouldn't have used this if it wasn't for the fact that I got that roll there. So we're going to re-roll these 3 dice. We've already gotten 4 successes. We just need 3 more. There's our 3. Look at that. We got 7. 8 actually. So we were able to shoot and fire and kill this guy. We'll put down a new treasure token, or a loot token, I should say. We'll put this one right underneath where that guy was, and then we'll hopefully be able to get a chance to pick it up. There is nobody in our line of sight, so they're not going to attack me. I do have to put this down on the red side for both our characters. They both get one of these. And now let's try to take out that final guy before things get a little too out of control inside that room. All right, let's blow him up. We're going to use 1 action to fire with our bolt action rifle. Now, of course, sadly, since I'm at range 2, I'm only able to use this single shot and I can't charge it up. So hopefully it'll be enough to do maybe a heavy wound to this guy. Otherwise, for our second action, we're going to reload. We're going to use our ammo. That is going to bring us back up to 3. And then if we decide to, we could shoot again with our bolt action rifle. It's going to be free to reload because I still have my focus token. And when you look at the actions that you can do on your turn, the reload one, if I have this, becomes a free action instead of an action. I'm looking for a big number here. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think 6 is a heavy wound to our rifleman here. 6 is a heavy wound to the rifleman, so that'll be fantastic. We're going to draw a card and see what we do to our person here. Heavy wound, -1, and shuffle the deck. Perfect. That's exactly what I needed. This guy is dead. We'll place down another loot token. And at this point, now you notice there is a shuffle card for the deck. So now we are going to shuffle up these decks. So there is a way to shuffle it before you actually see all the cards. We will remove our pin token and place a new one inside of there. And at this point, I think we're all set to go. I think I was able to reload my gun, except I think I did a big boo-boo. It's not going to change too much. The token that I got for our ammo was this token, and I just played it off that all the ammo is the same. There isn't. There's 3 different types of ammos in this game, and they all come with different types of clips, as you can see here. Here's just a couple of them. We got shotgun ones, we got pistol ones, we got these magazine ones. I grabbed one of these. Now, sadly, I should have gotten this as my ammo, not this. So I can't actually reload my gun. I don't have any of those bullets. So she can't reload the gun, and that's totally fine. She was still able to take that guy out with the shot that she had left, but I'm not able to reload it. So instead, I do have one more action that I can do, and I'm probably just going to move back up 1 to that area again so I can hopefully have a chance of sneaking into that room next turn. This character with 2 actions, he doesn't need 2 actions. He's going to move up 1 right to there. And I think that's about all he's going to do. No, I got a better idea. I'm going to prepare with him, which means I'm going to get a focus token and another bolt for be able to do that bolt action. The action for that is called prepare, and I'm able to gain a focus token and also one of my bolts. Then any number of times in any order, stalkers on your space may equip or unequip armor, artifacts, attachments, and weapons, and exchange cards and tokens from backpacks, pockets, and personal cards between stalkers on the same space. So we are actually on the same space. I'm going to give my red dot sensor over to him. He doesn't need his wolf companion. He can equip this up here. And since his accurate range is 2, that not only means he's going to be able to have a better chance, or he gets an extra die to roll, he has a better chance of getting the super awesome die roll with that red dot sight on. So he's all pretty souped up and ready to go. Both our characters have performed both actions. So at this point, we are going to draw our enemy threat card because there is actually an enemy on the board this time. So we're going to draw and resolve an enemy activation card. And if there's one red, we're going to draw a red card. And there's multiple reds out here because I'm just shooting everybody. Then we'll suffer our radiation and we'll continue on to pretty much the next turn. Let's draw our next enemy activation card. It says here that all our enemies will move up to the closest red. So that means this character is going to move 2 spaces, and it'll move 2 spaces as fast as it can. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I think it's going to go this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess that's about the same, isn't it? This is right here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it actually is the faster way to go that way. All right. At this point, the yellow enemies are going to move 2 spaces toward the closest red token. So again, this one's going to move. Oh, that's not a yellow enemy. That's a red enemy. So this one's not going to do anything. All enemies then attack the target in their line of sight. There isn't any. The enemies then perform their special. The yellow ones would. There are no yellow ones. Only during enemy activation step of zone enemy phase, suppressing fire, all stalkers in range and line of sight of at least 2 human enemies are going to gain the pinned token. That's not going to happen. That's all they're going to do is move to there. He's just going to move to there. That's it. That's not bad. All right. Fantastic. Let's move into the next turn. But before we do, I have to take some radiation damage, which is going to be nothing. I took nothing. That's fantastic. We'll move it back to 3, and then we have to put it back to 4 because of this artifact. And since nobody is in our line of sight, we get to flip these tokens back to their yellow side. They'll be in that space right there. At this point, we'll draw our next mission card. We've got an alarming sound. Nearby bushes rustle and shake as something makes its way through them. Too small for a human, too fast to be ignored. You hear low, muffled growling. Shivers run down your spine. Could it be Snorks? Heck no, not them. Instant Snorks. Find the Snork enemy card and place it next to the map. Mark it with a 2. Take the following tokens, 2 blank, a purple, and what is this? The number of people times 2 purple. Shuffle them and create a stack of 3 and place it on the map corner space of overlay card A1-2, which is where we came in. Discard the remaining tokens. Weapon stash. Find and resolve card A1-15. End of round refresh tokens. Okay, so I think we got our answer about the token stacks. So I don't think I was supposed to flip over all those tokens when I did, but that's okay. We put more of the enemies on the board. I am going to make up a stack of these, and I'm going to get our Snork card out and see what it says. We'll find our enemy Snorks. Is that what it says? Snorks? I thought those were, I thought that was a Saturday morning cartoon. All right, here's our Snorks. Our Snork is right here. You can see pretty much 3 in any direction. It takes only 6 to kill him in the head and 8 to kill him in the body. He's going to jump. When charging, place Snork directly in the target's space or adjacent to it, ignoring any anomalies or impassable terrain during movement. Does 8 damage as a range of 1. That's awesome. We'll put it right there. That is our Snork. Now I do need to put a purple 2 token. Remember I talked about earlier when we set this game up that the 1s and 2s are not friends. So if any of them are, if they have an active line to each one of them, they could potentially attack each other. We'll make up our stack and place it over on the side. So here is our stack. We have 2 of these single ones, 2 of these double ones, and then a blank one. We'll shuffle these up a little bit and we'll place them over on the side next to that particular card there. And then I will not know what these are. It's going to be sad news. I hope they're all. I'd like to have a blank one on top.
That'd be awesome.
And then it says to find A115A, find a random overlay card A18A and place it on the map as shown. Then we discard this card. This is just going to be an environment card. So we're going to find all the 1A8 cards. And we're going to put them and shuffle them up and put one out. So we have two. There's two of them. I'm shuffle them up here. No idea what these are. Well, but it must have something to do with weaponry, because that's what it said on the card. We'll place it right here. There's the overlay. I think it goes just like that. We'll put our thing there, and we can now use an action to open a chest, which will then increase your radiation dosage by 2, and then we flip that card. Now this one I'm going to put back, and if it tells me to grab another one, I'll place it out there, but for now, that's the only one on the board. Our lead stalker sadly doesn't have any bolts, otherwise I'd throw some bolts in that room for our second stalker, who's going to be the one that's going in here. Instead, Milady is going to use her sneak ability to move up to 3 spaces during the movement. The maximum value enemy's line of sight is 1, except for the final space of your move once per turn. We're going to do this. We're going to do 1, 2, 3 to right there. Now, this final space she's at, I have to check his line of sight. He can't see her. I know it's really weird, but his line of sight is straight ahead. So it's only 1, 2, 3. Those spaces there. His side line of sight is 1 and 1. So he can still see those 2 spaces. But the one straight in front of him, he can't see that particular spot. That's her first action. Her second action is going to be to move. Well, first I have to increase my radiation dosage if you were in a space with radiation. I was in this space and that space. One's a 3 and one's a 2, so I actually have to crank it up to 3 for her. So she's at 3 radiation. Then she's going to move again 1. Oh, and I also have to drop my yellow token there. I apologize. This is going to come with me now. We'll put the yellow token here. But then the yellow token's going to follow me again because I'm going to move 3. 1, 2, 3 into this room. My goal is the chest on the other side of this barricade here, but I can't go through this square or he will see me. So I am moving 1, 2, 3 into that room. So once I'm in here, though, it does say when a stalker enters this building, immediately flip this card. So we're going to flip this card, and it says the ripped lock. The piece of a broken lock glint in the darkness. The cell underneath is empty. The alarm has not been raised yet, so the prisoner cannot be far. If there is a hidden token in here, in the building, resolve it. Find the overlay card A114A and place it on the map. Then we discard this card. Here is our card. Go to the cellar. I can do that for free. The smell of sweat and urine says that a man was kept here not long ago. However, it's empty now. All right, so maybe he's down there. I can do this for free. I don't see why I wouldn't. I might as well just do this as I flip this card. I can do it for free. Might as well do it. Let's see what it says here. Nobody in there. The cell is dark, damp, and empty. There is no alarm yet, so wherever the prisoner is hiding, it cannot be far away. Draw 3 1A116, a potential hiding place, overlay cards, and place them on the map. Discard this card. So I'll do that. Is this where okay, so now do I still need a key? Or was this where this guy was supposed to be and there isn't? It was the joke that I didn't actually need a key and they're making me try to find a key by dealing with this anomaly. That could be the joke. The other joke is on me. I've got to bring this thing with me over to here. We'll put that token right there, which is great. Here are the 3 1A16As. There were only 3, so when it says to draw 3, there weren't any other ones. There were just these 3. These are a potential hiding place, so we're going to place these out on the board in their respective spots and try to find them. One of them looks like it's going to be right here, so we'll place this down here. We'll move some of this stuff around a little bit so we can get these cards placed out the way they're supposed to be. So that one is here. If we decide to go check for a potential hiding spot there, we can spend an action to flip this card. The next one is going to be, is it right over here? Yes, it is. It's going to be right over there. We'll put that right here. That's another potential spot that it could be. Okay, that's one. And then the last one is this one here. I have to match it up with the, it's actually going to be right here. Well, that's kind of interesting. All right, this one's going to be right on all these little tokens here. All right, goes right there. This thing's going to be here. The potential hiding spot is right here. Okay, I think I have a new plan. I think we're going to not worry about that anomaly now, which is what my plan originally was. Instead, we're going to check these hiding spots and try to find this guy. Hopefully that's what I'm supposed to be doing now. I don't see, it says I'm still supposed to look for a cell key. Maybe if we find him, we still need the key, we can bring him back over here for now. But I think for our first action with our Stalker, we're going to move. We're going to move one. I'm going to use actually my zone affinity, which allows me to move up to 2 spaces. And don't move or place your attention during this movement. Treat radiation as 1 lower once per turn. We're going to do that. So this radiation is actually going to be 2. I'm going to move 1, 2 to right here. Now it doesn't. Now it says not to use my token, but I'm in his line of sight. So at this point, I am dropping the token right there. That's just going to be how that is, and that's totally fine. Actually, I wonder if I should do that. I could just move here, 3. I'm going to move right there. I'm not going to do that with the, I'm going to take all 3 of the radiation. That's totally fine. We'll take our Geiger counter and go up 3. 1, 2, 3 to 7. That's just fine. Oh, I was also supposed to take 2 more radiation when I walked into that space up there. So we'll go up to 5 on that. And at this point with my second action, I'm going to shoot this guy in his face. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my single shot and I can pick a body part. I am down to 2 ammo with him and it does 2 dice. I get an extra die because of my red dot, and I get 2 dice from him, and let's see what we can do about that guy. I get to roll a whole mess of dice. This is going to be awesome. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 is way more than enough. This guy didn't even know it hit him. He came walking out and got shot in the face. Okay, we'll place down another token. So we'll put one of our tokens out there where he was. I'm probably not going to get it, and that's just fine, because now it's going to be her turn. She's going to move out to here. And then for her second action, she's going to open this chest, increase my radiation dosage by 2, which means it will go up to 7 as well. And we're going to flip this card. We have found ourselves, we found ourselves a weapon. A RPO-44. It has no accurate range. It has a max range of 4. It uses the same kind of ammo as my other gun. It's full auto. I get to shoot 2 dice. Deals that. Let's see here. You may spread the effects around between targets and all enemies adjacent to it in line of sight. For 1 ammo, I can do that. I believe they come with full ammo, so if I wanted to, I could switch this out. I think I'm going to, mainly because our bolt action rifle doesn't have any ammo right now. And this one does. So we're going to take that. We'll put this back here with our little thing. We got a new gun. That's awesome. If anything, if I don't like it, I can sell it for 2,500 500 money. This one's only 1,200. So in theory, I can sell that one if I need to. But for now, we have a better gun. Those are 2 actions for her. She is done. All right, we'll move over to our other character. And he is going to flip this card and see if he can find the person, the potential hiding spot. Flip this card. This one says here, search for a Dalek, a dark, stinky nook. If there are no other A116A potential hiding card overlays on the map, he is here. Draw and resolve card 112A. Otherwise, roll a die. Or roll the, this die? If I get a red symbol, then he is there. Oh my gosh, I got a red symbol. That is out of control. I got a red symbol. You find Dalek. Draw and resolve A112A. All right, A112A. We have found Dalek. It says here, flip card A10A mission objective. We'll flip this card. It says find and rescue Dalek. Mission accomplished. All right, that's fantastic. All right, next we are going to flip the overlay card 1A02. That is the place we came in. We'll flip this card. This card now says, as an action, get out of here. Remove your stalker from the map when there are no more stalkers in the map. The mission ends. Find and resolve mission card 8. Successful. All right. Well, that's half the battle here. We'll see if we can get out of here now. Then we continue on. It does say if overlay card 1A9 alternate escape route is on map, flip it. I don't think there is a 1A09 out there. If card 1A10B cell key location is next to the map, discard it. Okay, it's not, but I don't, okay. If you have card 1A11A cell key, discard it. If you have 13 locked up, discard it. If you have card 16B search for Dalek, discard it. If any overlay cards A116A are on the map, discard them. All right, now the only thing I think I have to do is discard these cards. This one and this one. These are, I don't need anymore. These are A116A. The only other one we had was the cell key location shed. This was that 1A10B. I am going to discard that. That's his final activation, was to look for that guy. That was awesome. Sadly, I didn't get any artifacts. Maybe I might try for some before we leave, but we'll see. There aren't any enemies on the board, so again, I'm not going to resolve an enemy activation card, but I do have to do our Geiger counter. It's at 7, so I do have to take some damage for her. She's going to take none. Our other character is also at 7. He's going to have to take some radiation damage. He's going to take 1. He goes down to 10. At this point then, we would reset these Geiger counters to their lowest point. So instead of flipping it to 3, I'm actually going to keep it at 7 because that's the next lowest value. That is a starting point on our Geiger counter. That's the end of that. At this point now, we'll remove any tokens that are on the board and reduce the attention of all our stalkers. So at this point, our red token is going to flip to yellow for our for Borsuk, and then we're going to remove this one from the board because I didn't make it's not red, it's yellow, and there isn't anybody in that can see her in line of sight. At this point, we'll move into the beginning of our event phase and draw our next event card. I'm sure this one is going to be something about using those stacks of tokens over there. Let's see what it says. A new arrival. The camp is under attack. Bandits spring up and grab their weapons. No way. Alarm. Resolve all things from all stacks of tokens. What? Really? End of round. Place 4 random events on the top of the event deck. Reset all turn tokens and refresh the lead Stalker. Are you seriously? Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Okay, so I have to resolve all the things from all the stacks. So basically I have to put out a whole ton of these guys. That's what I have to do. This does not seem like that's even nice. Am I supposed to put random ones on this thing? Nope. So technically this would put everything as stacks and then you would, with this card, just resolve them all. That seems a little bonkers. Okay, so here's the set of tokens I have. So I'm going to shuffle these up, and I am going to grab 3 because we're supposed to make a stack of 3 over here. So from our last token, so that is our stack of 3. These are the 2 we're not using. So now we have to spawn all of these. We have 1, 2, and 3, 4. They're all facing weird directions. Now this one's going to face this way. This one's going to face this way. And then we have 2 facing in this direction. They're all facing so I can't sneak up on them. But that's okay. They can all see in 3 pretty much from any direction except for behind them anyway. If we look at their sight card, no matter where I'm looking, they're going to be able to see us. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1. So they're going to be able to see us from everywhere. We have spawned all of these guys. Now, interestingly enough, you can only ever have, this can only ever hold 4 people. So if I had drawn multiples of these, I'm not exactly sure what I'd do. It says that you can't move into these spaces if they're full unless you are one of the stalkers. The stalkers can move in and push one of them out if they want. But I don't know about spawning. I don't know if I just spawn a guy here then instead. I don't have, I'm not exactly sure, couldn't find that in rules. But we didn't have to worry about that. There's only 4, so we have our 4 guys here. It is going to be our lead stalker's turn. So here's the deal. We have to get to this spot where all these dudes are, and we have to do an action to get out of here. It says get out of here. That's the plan. So there's a couple options here. If you move into a square where there's too many people that and you cannot occupy space, you actually do get to bump one out and land there. And then all you have to do is perform an action to get out if you want. Or we could have a lot of fun and try to take all these guys out. I think it's going to be lots of fun to take the guys out, right? It's always better to just mow down a whole bunch of random mutated zombie looking dudes, right? So we're going to start with Milady. She's going to use 2 actions. Now, this is not going to be the greatest plan I've ever had, but that's okay. We are going to, we're going to run. We're going to move 1, 2, 3 to right here. We'll place down our yellow tile right there. And I went through a space with 2 radiation, so I'm going to have to raise that up to 1, 2 to 9. At this point, we are going to move again We're gonna go 1, 2, 3 to right there. Again, now I've ran through a space with 4 radiation. It's hard to see because it's behind this window. So I'm gonna go up 4 on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, which means we're getting dangerously close to the top. The top is like 16 to roll 4 dice, but we're gonna be rolling 3 dice worth of damage against her, which is not gonna be great, but I don't really have much choice because I really wanna get out of here and I wanna get those guys. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now if I go that way and he sees me, I'm gonna get killed. So, or he's going to be able to attack me before I can do this. So my goal is to kind of hide out behind this and then jump out and attack. That's going to be my goal here. So he's got a gun I want to be 2 spaces away from. He's going to go 1, 2. I can only go there. I guess that's, oh, I got a plan. He is going to use his ability that allows him to move 2 spaces without putting down his token. And then he's going to be able to treat the... what do you call this? The radiation as 1 lower per turn. So I'm going to be able to do it by 1 less. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 1, 2, 3 to right here. And he's going to walk through a, oh, it's 2. I need to go 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yep, that's fine. He can go 2 right there. And actually, before he leaves, he's going to spend 1 action to pick up something. He's going to pick up something. What does he get? He got shotgun ammo. That doesn't really help me, but I'll put it on his board. Maybe he can get a shotgun at a later date. We'll grab shotgun ammo and stick it on his board. He can't really use it, but that's okay. Now, for his second action, he is going to move 1, 2 to here, using that special moving ability, meaning he's only going to take 2, but he also has a suit that means he's going to drop it only down to 1. He's going to take 1 radiation. She went running through all this radiation, and he's with the radiation suit. Probably could have figured this out a little bit better. Now that I think about it, she could have probably got through a little bit easier than she did. 1, 2, 3. She probably could have came down the same way he did. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, she could do that. That's a lot smarter plan to go this way. Lot smarter plan than to go through this 4 radiation zone here. That means she takes 5 radiation instead of 6. So it's still a lot. I'm going to give it 12, but it's a better plan. Better plan. I like better plans. All right, that's our first set of actions. Nobody is able to see us from where we are. I am going to move her token to here. His stays there because of his ability. Now, I never got to see any of these cards up here, but that's okay. That can be something you can discover on your own. Who knows what some of this is? Not to mention I didn't get all the artifacts out here, and there's a lot of items I didn't get either, but we're trying to get out at this point because we're in a ticking time bomb here. We both have a lot of radiation. We're going to start taking a lot of damage. All right, second turn. We're going to move 1 to here, and she is going to start mowing these creatures down. 1, 2, 3 spaces away. She's got that awesome gun. She's going to shoot this gun. It's going to fully auto. I get to roll 2 dice, plus I also get to get 2 dice from her actual character there, and I get to roll them up and see if we can kill these dudes. I'm going to put this token right here as a red token because we're going to shoot these guys, and we're going to shoot these guys really good. With our new gun, what I'm trying to do is I'm actually not trying to do a ton of successes here because those aren't really going to do me a lot of good. I do need 3 to get a light wound, 5 to get a heavy wound, and 8 to actually kill them in the torso if that is my goal here. But what I'm trying to do is this, for every one of the hazmat symbols I roll on these dice, I get to pin somebody down. And the bottom part here says I get to spend as many successes and effects between the targets and all enemies adjacent to it and in your line of sight. So I could pin down a lot of people if I roll some good amount of hazmat symbols. I didn't get hazmat symbols, but I did get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 8 stars. That's really hoping for hazmat symbols. So instead, I just flat out killed somebody, which isn't the end of the world. I killed one of these guys. Now, when you kill one of these characters, they do not drop items like the human player does. That didn't go exactly as I was having planned. I was really hoping to pin some of these people down because now what's going to happen is because I did my 2 actions, these are going to now activate because at the end, if you look at the character board, when you slide your token completely down, it says each enemy with line of sight to your stalker attacks your stalker. And this one does not because it's facing the back. But the other 2 are going to have line of sight to her because if you look at the card, their line of sight, they're actually facing this direction, is 3 to both sides. So 1, 2, 3 to both sides. Even though there's a wall here, this is all considered one area. So these do have line of sight to her. So those 2 are going to attack. So if we look here, it says jump. When charging, place Snork directly on the target space for adjacent to it, ignoring any anomalies and impassable terrain during the movement. All right, so this thing is going to try to attack. Now, since the range on this is 1, and the ability it's going to do is jump charge, it's a charge attack, what it's going to do is if it's not on the square of this character, it's going to attempt to move as close as it can. Now, its movement is 3, which means it's going to be able to get to it. When charging, place it directly on the space or or adjacent to it, ignoring the anomalies and pathful terrain through the movement. So it's going to move 3 spaces, 1, 2, 3, right to here, and it's going to jump right on me. And this one's going to jump right on me as well. And they're both going to do some damage, and this is going to be really bad because they're going to do 8 points of damage to me, and I'm going to have to try to dodge as much of that as I can. Now, of course, I only have the leather jacket, so I only get to roll 1 green die for both of those attacks. So in essence, I'm taking 16 points of damage, and we get to subtract 2. So we are taking 14 points of damage. Now, I should have done that in 2 separate attacks. The first one, let's say, would have been the 8 and not taken anything off of it. So we're going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're going to go to 4. Now we're going to take another 8 points of damage, but we're going to subtract 2, so it's going to go to 6. But that's still enough to put me at 0. But don't worry, we're not quite dead yet. We're not dead yet. So I am not dead yet. I'm going to put this critical injury token here. And whenever your character takes damage, when it's at 0, it's going to gain a critical injury token. What that does is it only allows you to do 1 action. Now, of course, I still get my 2 actions on this side when it comes back to my turn. The problem is if I take any more damage, I'm going to take another critical wound injury. And if at that point, if I have 2 critical injuries and I have to take an attack, I would die. That would be the end of my character at that point. So right now, we're not looking too good. Maybe running in and trying to shoot these guys wasn't the best idea, but you know, sometimes my ideas aren't the greatest. Now, of course, she has done everything. We're going to move over to our other character. Hopefully, you can take a couple of these guys out, and then she won't take any more damage from the other guys. And sadly, I don't have any type of healing ability for her. It's on the other guy because I thought he'd be the one that would be the one getting damage. I do have my lead Stalker token, which I am going to do right now. I'm going to flip this token, pass it to the next Stalker, and choose 1. Heal 2 or gain 1 focus token. I think I might have done that wrong. I think I grabbed both of these for him. I should have only done 1 of these. It's probably, if I didn't put a subtitle in the video and I did do that, do be aware that you're only supposed to choose 1 of these. I can't even read the word choose 1. So I have this. So I have a focus token, so I'm not going to grab that. I'm going to grab the 2 health though. I don't think that's going to help me too much, but you never know. I'm going to flip this over, and besides, I don't think I want to be the lead Stalker anymore. All right, it's time for some revenge. He is going to shoot into here and try to take out as many of those guys as he can with his gun. I'm going to do 2 single shots because I, at that point, can choose to attack a body part. So I'm going to choose the head. I also get the extra +1 for green die because of my red dot sight, and I am at my accurate range right now. So any of those white ones are going to be +2. So we'll shoot our first guy. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total successes against our enemy. Our enemy does need to have 6 in order for it to be taken out. So I don't like that roll. I think I'm going to re-roll almost all of this. I'm going to re-roll everything I got here. We're going to re-roll all these. I got to be able to do better than that, right? I got to be able to do better than that. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. Boom. Because I can use my focus token to re-roll all those enemies, or dice, sorry. This guy is dead. We've killed 1. We have to take out the other guy now, or this could be a really, really bad situation for my lady here. I think it's already pretty bad. We'll see how this goes. I get a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 again. 7 is enough to shoot him in the head. I only need to get a 6 in order to do his 1 health damage. He only has 1 health, so he is off the board as well. We killed 2 of the guys. That's fantastic. Now, sadly, that's the end of his activations. We are done. Now we have to go to the bad guys. Now we have to put his symbol here. We have to put this right here. And she's already here with this red one already there. This is going to be bad. She's going to get attacked. I already know it. And she's going to take another serious wound. All right. This enemy moves up to 2 spaces toward the closest, which is going to be her. So it's going to move 2 spaces this way. Then it says green enemies move up to 2. There's no green. Enemies attack their target at -2 damage. And then the enemies perform their special. There's not a special. So the only thing that's going to happen is I'm going to get attacked for -2 damage. And I can only roll 1 die to try to save myself. I did get 3, which is absolutely fantastic, but I am still going to take 8 minus 3 is 5, minus 2 is 3 points of damage, which sadly is not enough for her to not get her next critical injury. So she now has taken her 2nd critical injury, and I think I see the writing on the wall how this one's going to end. Oh no, I'm so sad about this because I had a good plan. Oh, it wasn't a very good plan if we're going to lose, because right now the next thing we have to do after all of that is taken place is we have to take our radiation damage, and she's going to take 3 green dice worth of radiation damage. There's nothing I can do about it. She's going to gain another critical injury, and she is going to be dead. She died from radiation instead of the bad guys. But we were so close. All we had to do was just take out this guy, get here, and we would have won the game. We would have won the game next turn without any problem. Because she could have even walked right by, or she could have shot him and then walked into here. And actually, he would have been the lead person. He could have moved down here, shot. She could have moved past him. He could have moved past. Both could have done their activations and got out of here by the next turn. But alas, we were taken down by the radiation and the wonderful snorks that came riding in on their seahorses. Here they are, the snorks. All the snorks killed us. And because of that, we have to read this. If any stalker dies, the mission is lost. Find and resolve mission event card 7, a fatality. That forsaken camp finally disappears behind trees, and the yells of the pursuit die down in the distance. You take a few more steps and lean against a trunk, panting and exhausted. It was so close, so darn close. You should have played it another way. I should have played it another way. You think I should have tried something different? Maybe not shoot everything. That's awesome that it says played in a different way. Oh, that's awesome. You wish you had another try. Well, good luck. Instant. A better version of the story, perhaps? Mission fails. Let's try again. Go to the mission box cleanup in the script book, page 4. Now, sadly, one thing I should have done that maybe would have saved our characters and got them out is I totally forgot about my wolf card. I should have used this at the end, at the beginning of our next turn when she came in and attacked, and that way she got her first critical wound. I could have used this to pin that character down so it wouldn't have been able to get to my character, and I only would have taken the radiation damage, and I would have only had the 1 fatality or the 2 critical wound tokens, and I would have probably gotten out of there. Totally forgot about my wolf companion. Oh my gosh, I would have made it. I would have made it. Oh, wow. It does tell me I'm supposed to go to script book page 4 in the script book, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to save that for you to see. I just wanted to give you a taste of what the first mission for Stalker is like. This is super fun. I can't get enough of this. Actually, I'm going to put this all back together and I'm going to play this again because I'm going to beat this. I'm going to get this game. I'm going to make it through this time. Oh, I don't think I could roll any better than I did though. So we'll have to see. I'm going to have to try some different tactics this time in order to get through here. But this game's super fun. I love all the neat terrain out here. It took a little while to get out there, but once it's out there, it looks so cool. On top of that, the miniatures really make this game come to life. I like the fact that this is a tough game. The enemies are no joke. They're coming at you doing a lot of damage, 9 damage. And so you really do have to be tricky and sneaky in order to get them around. Now, I wasn't too tricky and sneaky. I just went in and shot everything. But you can be more, you could use these tokens to your advantage to get people to group up and really take advantage of your actions, be able to take as many out as you can, or just to put them in one area while you're off doing something in another area. I think that's really cool. I love this system with the radiation that you have to deal with. I think that's great. And the action system works really well where you get 2 actions and somebody else gets to go and do 2 actions. You can really talk about how you want to maneuver yourself around the map and what you want to do to manipulate the monsters to move around the map, the enemies, I should say. I think these anomalies are cool. I like the fact that you can cover up some of these symbols so that when you walk in here, now I didn't show this, but I could have walked into this area and I could have potentially used this echo detector, which would have been able to potentially move this artifact token over to my spot if I rolled well on the die. And I could have put it right there, and then I could have actually grabbed that artifact, but of course I was concentrating more on getting that key at the time when this artifact was here and when we were dealing with the artifact. So I didn't get a chance to try any of that, but I was going to use the bolts on this to get in there to grab that key. I was going to put them on the red symbols inside here to give myself a chance to be able to get the key without taking any damage. But I did have a backup plan for that in case it did, because this Electro would have done 10 damage, but I could roll defense. So I would have rolled my defense, and then I would have used my jellyfish. I would have used this to gain 10 on the roll, of course, 10 defense, of course, if I would have got a red. But even if I only would have got maybe 2 and then this 3, that would have been 5. That would have saved me a lot. I would have then discarded this, I believe. I think this goes away after you do this. Defense roll, you may roll, discard this artifact if you get the 10. But if you don't get the 10, you get to use it again. So cool. Then you get to bring all this stuff back with you, of course. This is a cool gun, and I could have sold this if I wanted to get some more items. We'd update our map. We get to put more stickers on it. I actually did miss part of the mission guide, and I apologize. When we went into the mission, I should have updated my zone map with sticker 0, Yeshov's bunker. I didn't do that, so that could have been another place we could have gone potentially after this mission. mission because we'd already chosen our particular mission for this before we went on, before that part would have opened up. But I'm really digging Stalker. I think this is a great game. I think if you're interested in getting this game, I think there still is a late pledge or a pre-order concept you can check out in the Gamefound page. I'll put a link to it in the description of this video if you're interested. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed the playthrough. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell symbol so you know when more content comes out. Also, please feel free to leave anything in the comment section below. I would love to hear from everyone. Now, of course, I may have done a few things wrong in this game when it comes to the movements and how it all plays out, but I'm really digging how this goes. Just having so much fun playing this is all that matters. It's so fun. And I love the different items you can get. I love the upgrading system. There's so many cool things they put into this game. Now, like I said earlier, if you're interested in supporting the channel, please feel free to check out the Patreon. The link to it is in the description of this video. Those that did join the Patreon are located here on the screen. Thank you so much for your patronage. It means the world to me. On top of being able to manipulate who we play with and things of that nature, they also get a chance of watching our playthrough videos usually about a day or two ahead of time without commercial interruptions. And like I said earlier, they got to pick the characters they picked the sniper and the Berserk character. So it was kind of cool to see what they came up with and what they thought would be well suited together, or just maybe they wanted me to fail. They chose these two characters. I don't know. But I probably should not have charged over here and took all those guys out. But I did, like I said, I could have used an item that maybe would have saved us. That would have been a lot better to do. Oh, but that's okay. Super fun. Now I want to dig back into this and play this again. I'm actually going to set it up right after I'm done recording this because I want to try this. So anyway, there we go. Thank you again so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you're excited to see what Colin and I have coming up next, then I need you to meet me at the table.